Video is on. Yeah, you start on, okay. It's in up there.
Okay, so today's meeting of the Neighborhood and Affordable Housing Advisory Board is called to order on April 9th, 2024. Welcome, everybody. Today's meeting will be one of the most interesting and probably the longest of the year. We have 23 organizations that will deliver presentations for a total of 32 funding applications. Total funding requests for these projects and services is just over $2.3 million. Available funding, unfortunately, is far less than that. So this will be a highly competitive process. These presentations are a way for each applicant to explain why their request deserves to be funded. We'll also have a presentation on the city's new 3-year local housing assistance plan and a report on the current year's subrecipient performance. We have a lot to cover today. Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall at the entrance to the chamber. Please remember to turn off your cell phones. To ensure a complete record of the board's actions, we ask that each individual wishing to speak clearly state your name and spell your last name for the clerk. I will ask the board members to introduce themselves and identify the fields they each represent. Mr. Harder?
David Harder, construction and nonprofit.
Ms. Hepting?
Camille Hepting, employers.
Linda Byers, city resident.
Lindsay Dykes Harrison, real estate.
And I am your board chair, Robin Field. I represent the lending industry as it relates to affordable housing. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the board's February 13th, 2024 meeting. May I have a motion to approve item 2.1?
I'll make a motion to approve item 2.1.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Is there anyone here to speak on items not on today's agenda? If so, please step to the podium and state your name and spell your last name for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak on a subject that is not on today's agenda. Seeing no one come forward, Ms. Call, do we have any e-comments? We will move on to the next item. Presentations by applicants for grant funding. We have a lot of different organizations asking for a lot of money, so please be cognizant of the time. Mr. Lane, please explain to the board where today's presentations fit into the city's grant application cycle and when we can expect these programs to begin helping Clearwater citizens.
Thank you. Chuck Lane, Assistant Director, Economic Development Housing Department. This is a really good day on our calendar because we get to hear from several organizations whose mission it is to help those in need. We're grateful to have these folks working in our community. We've changed some things in our grant program, and one of the most notable changes is an increase in funding amounts. I think our public service maximum went from $25,000 to $50,000. Our public facilities maximum request went from $95,000 to $190,000. I think the nonprofit community has responded. I think we have a record number of applicants, at least the most since I've been in this position. As the board chair said earlier, we have 23 nonprofit organizations submitted 32 grant applications, and you will hear from all of them today. Hopefully they're all present. 20 public service applications were submitted with funding requests totaling just under $930,000. 12 public facilities applications were submitted with total funding of $1.38 million. Our CDBG allocation is expected to be around $900,000 this year. Clearly, it will be a competitive grant cycle. The Technical Review Committee is the group responsible for scoring these applications. They're able to use these presentations as a resource in evaluating the applications. They met last week and they had questions for several of the applicants. Denise Sanderson is prepared to ask those questions if they're not addressed during the presentations. NAHAB board members, this is your forum. You're welcome to ask questions as well. Following today's meeting, the TRC, the Technical Review Committee, will meet next Monday to discuss the applications and finalize their scoring. Staff will use those scores to create a recommendation for funding allocations across our program. We will ask this board to approve those allocations at your next meeting scheduled for May 14th. Okay, so just a couple housekeeping items. Most organizations submitted one application. They'll have 3 minutes to speak. Some organizations submitted 2 applications. They'll have 5 minutes to speak. there is one organization that submitted multiple applications. They'll have the 5 minutes plus one additional minute for each additional application, okay? We can't allow PowerPoint or virtual presentations today logistically with this many folks. It's just too difficult. We do have an overhead projector that folks are able to use, so feel free. Just be cognizant of the time. The clerk will be taking track of the time. So, Madam Chair, unless the board has any questions for me, I'll turn it back to you to introduce the first presenter.
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. We will be calling each organization up because we don't know who the exact presenter is, so please remember to state your name clearly and spell your last name for the clerk. 360 Easts. You have 3 minutes to speak.
I think I've done something timed like this in many decades. Sarah Liakos, Liakos. Good? Yeah? Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Neighborhood and Affordable Housing Advisory Board. My name is Sarah Liakos. Let me start by saying that your commitment to the community's well-being is truly commendable, and I thank each of you for what you do and your consideration. As a 14-year City of Clearwater resident, I am deeply honored to stand before you today as the Vice Chairman of the Board of 360 Eats, a nonprofit organization addressing the issues of food insecurity and food waste in our community. Our concept is simple. Rescue food turns into chef-prepared meals at our licensed kitchen and then is served directly out of our food truck. We empower meal recipients with choice, allowing them to select their meals without limitations. This approach ensures access to nutritious meals with dignity and respect, something I personally really love. Throughout Clearwater, 360 Eats has become a trusted resource for food assistance. Last winter, we launched our Sustainable Food Truck program in North Greenwood, where we provide our nutritious meals free of charge to low-income residents through our food truck. As you know, the North Greenwood community faces significant challenges with a poverty rate of 45% and a median household income of less than $24,000 annually. As one of the food deserts in the county, many residents live over a mile away from the nearest source of nutritious and affordable food. For example, Georgia, a 90-year-old resilient woman who cares for her grandchildren while facing her own health issues. Every Thursday, Georgia seeks meals from our food truck in North Greenwood, which isn't just a meal source for her, it's a lifeline. As a sole provider for her grandchildren, she struggles daily to put food on the table. So without our weekly food assistance, Georgia and many others would face uncertainty about their next meal. Each week, we serve about 150 meals at the United Way Suncoast Resource Center, catering predominantly to low-income families and children. Our meal service there coincides with the end of the school day, ensuring children have access to healthy meals as they head home. Additionally, we support low-income seniors at Clear Bay Terrace Senior Apartments and the Barbie and Ralph Richards Senior Towers. We also offer our healthy meals to those transitioning from homelessness at Pinellas Hope. As expected, sustaining our efforts requires adequate support and financial means. We are here today seeking $50,000 through the Public Services Grant to contribute to the salary of our Executive Director, Cameron, for the upcoming year. Given that almost 93% of our efforts and Cameron's time is dedicated to serving the Clearwater community, this funding will cover nearly the same 93% of his annual salary, with the remaining portion funded by our organization. As a small staff of 4, Cameron plays a hands-on critical role in various aspects of 360 Eats in that he oversees and actively participates in food rescue, meal preparation, distribution, and fundraising. Without his leadership, honestly, our organization's efforts would just simply cease to exist. So your grant awarding would enable Cameron to continue leading our impact within the Clearwater communities hit hardest by food insecurity, particularly within the North Greenwood food desert. It would also ensure that food insecure families and individuals continue to receive the vital assistance they need. Our history and impact in the community underscores the importance of this funding request, and 360 Eats is committed to making a difference. With the city's support, we can continue to serve those in need. That's it.
Denise, does anyone on the Technical Review Committee have any questions?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Anyone on the board?
Good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Boys and Girls Clubs of the Suncoast. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Name's Ryan Becker, last name's Beckeer, representing Boys and Girls Clubs of the Suncoast, and I'm the Director of Workforce Readiness for all the clubs across Pinellas County. We are here seeking $50,000 to be able to continue efforts that we are making and the impact at Pinellas High Innovation, formerly Clearwater Intermediate High School. Clearwater Intermediate, or what is now Pinellas High Innovation, serving some behavioral challenged youth in our community and being able to put wraparound and supplemental support in different areas with a focus on workforce and life readiness. So far to date, where some of our biggest successes are, it stems from our programming across all of our clubs and the continuation of learning throughout becoming work readiness and life readiness in those supplemental areas, such as our workforce academy that we implement with youth in need at the school, soft skills, healthy conflict resolution, resume writing, interview prep. So again, the continuum of learning where we can be able to put in some key elements to be able to support their growth, some career exploration elements where we are able to bring in our culinary team and be able to do full-on culinary and cooking classes, being able to provide those light bulb moments where the kids candidly just don't know what they don't know or what hasn't been put in front of them. Another organization where we've been very fortunate to be able to partner with and bring into the youth for construction readiness is Power Design, a local corporation, to be able to go in and teach entry-level exercises for the younger youth, and then along the way being able to provide some of that wraparound support of other elements where transportation becomes an immediate barrier. So we partner with the public transit system, be able to bring some of their employees out with some buses locally, teach the youth how to be able to use the application to be able to plan their routes, and then we can go ahead and start teaching them way upstream about how to be able to be self-sufficient and then be able to gain immediate and direct economic impact. How we also are able to provide that for the youth is through our e-learning platform called Life Hub. We're supporting about 60 youth where they are able to go online and be able to take prescriptive modules where they are paid anywhere between $1 to $3 based on what the module is for completion. So we are able to put our Workforce Academy exercises on Life Hub, being able to create that direct incentive for youth to be able to feel empowered about earning on their journey, so a learn to earn model. Another element where we are able to really be able to instill healthy values is our healthy habit programming within our culinary cooking classes. So while we take a lens of teaching the youth how to be able to introduce into the culinary industry and become, whether it's a chef or, working the hospitality industry, we are also able to teach them healthy eating styles to be able to directly impact their lives beyond the school system. Right now we have a direct partnership with the school itself and the principal and administration, where we also have our guidance counselor, which is a Boys and Girls Club staff member that's able to float throughout the school and is bilingual as some of the staff to be able to help some of the other students in need there.
I do have a question. Thanks, Robin.
Yeah.
Mr. Becker, are you able to track which of the students reside in Clearwater? Your application indicates that students outside of Clearwater will be entered into the program as well.
Yes, so Clearwater Intermediate, there's students all throughout Clearwater that are being able to go to that school. To answer the specific question of tracking youth, we are getting more ingrained with the school themselves. We are not Pinellas County school administrators ourselves, so we do not have access to that immediate data, but we are able to work alongside the admin at the school to be able to segment that out based on where their homes are. And over time, we are getting better and better at accumulating that data.
Great, thank you.
Anyone on the board?
What are the age group of the children you serve, the ages?
Yeah, absolutely. So within the Boys and Girls Clubs, we look at it anywhere the continuum of learning from roughly about 5th grade all the way until 24 years old, supporting that whole journey. Within Clearwater Intermediate, it's specifically from 5th grade to 10th grade. The structure of the school is year by year. This year, they just added in 10th grade. Next year, they'll add in 11th grade. The following year, they'll add in 12th grade, so that way they can support the youth along their journey. And then where we also take another step forward is as as youth are aging out of the system, so 18 years old, our direct Boys and Girls Club staff members working alongside those youth to identify their career interests, and where they might not be able to make up credit hours to immediately be able to graduate on time, we are providing them with the opportunities for direct employment where they are going out into the community, getting applications, helping the youth write those and be able to get immediate employment, so at least they have an opportunity for their pathway moving forward if it's not directly correlated to post-secondary education.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate the time.
Next, we have Catholic Charities Diocese of St. Petersburg. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Cain, C-A-I-N. Good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to bring the human element to an application and to let you all understand what we do. Boots residents who were formerly Clearwater residents who have then gone on to live at our Pinellas Hope location. This is a shelter location, and they work through the different steps to get to self-sufficiency from beginning where they are in need of all the resources, all the foundations, all of the support systems that we can offer and our community partners can offer, all the way up to getting them ready to go into this program, which will be a rapid exit out of shelter. 3 months does sound fast, because it is. We are confident, though, that this is a program that we've done before. We have several decades within Pinellas County with experience with community partners, housing, and so on and so forth. Last fiscal year, Pinellas Hope provided shelter services to 409 individuals who were residents of Clearwater. This fiscal year, with the last quarter of the year still ahead of us, we have served 301 individuals from Clearwater. The success rate for those Clearwater residents was 45% last fiscal year and is currently 46%. The success rate reflects those individuals who have been successfully rehoused. Rapid rehousing program goals for this program are going to be 75% will exit the program to permanent, supportive, stable housing. 55 days will be our average length of time to move in to housing once they've been enrolled into the program from Pinellas Hope. 40% of adults will increase their earned income. We hope to work with providers in the community to work on workforce development to get those ups in their incomes and salaries to be able to support the rising increase in rentals that we're seeing all over the place, unfortunately, right now. Out of the individuals we've contacted during the last 6 months for follow-ups, 78% of those were still stably housed. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Sarah. What is the target population? What is the population at Pinellas
It
Hope?
would be singles and couples out of Pinellas Hope.
Great, thank you.
We unfortunately can't house families or children there with the network that we have, so it would be singles and couples.
Okay,
from there.
great. And just to clarify, for those that were, that identify as being from Clearwater and being served, will you be limiting the rentals that you place them in within the incorporated limits of the city of Clearwater or within Pinellas County? But that's not a trick question, it's allowed
Yes.
across, just, you can place them anywhere, but.
So that's what I was going to ask. If we're able to place them anywhere, that obviously opens up many more opportunities and places where we can go within the county and not just a specific city. We would work for client choice and client voice.
Okay.
It would be up to what the client needs for them and their house to be stable and comfortable and happy. They
Great.
are people, and we want to serve them as people. Homelessness is an experience, not a person.
Question?
Sure.
Is it an income-based program?
We would be looking for people who do have income because of the rapid exit aspect. That 3 months, they are going to need to be stable entering the program. We will be able to help them with those first move-in costs, which is typically what people struggle with the most in being able to get out of homelessness. So those timelines would affect those people being able to be enrolled. So yes, they would need to have income that could cover rentals at an FMR.
Is it limited? Is the income limited based on the
Oh,
median
yes,
income?
we have promised in the application percentages for each 30%, 50%, 80% AMI.
Gotcha.
So yes.
Okay. Are the rents limited?
Pardon?
The rents that are paid,
The rents, the rental amounts?
yes.
Yes, we would be sticking to the federal market rate. Mhm.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have the City of Clearwater Parks and Recreation for the Philip Jones Park shade structure replacement. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Anderson. I'm the Assistant Director of the Parks Recreation Department. I also oversee projects. So this would be done inside of my purview if selected. We currently have approximately 109 parks that we have facilities and opportunities for residents to utilize. We're seeking to see DBG funding for the shade structure at Philip Jones Park. Currently, the shade structure that's there is in bad shape. We're doing some renovations to this park. We're coming back through and milling and repaving the parking lot. We've done restroom work and, on the other facilities there. And this is one of the last pieces to complete this. Philip Jones Park is located in the North Greenwood neighborhood. Approximately 94% of the youth that facilitate this sports complex are from the North Greenwood neighborhood. It is home to the Greenwood Panthers football and cheerleading programs. This is their home field, home complex. This is also used by members of the community and other user groups inside the city. But like I said, this is the Greenwood Panthers home facility. We're seeking the grant funding of $190,000 to help us achieve the goal of these 2 new shade structures. And this amenity will enhance not only this sports portion of it, but also for the community in this park. It'll allow us to get this project wrapped up, in the 24-25 budget. So at this point, I'll answer any questions that anyone has.
Ms. Anderson?
No question. No question.
Any questions here?
What is a shade structure?
So currently, we have a large set of bleachers, and a shade structure provides shade for the folks that utilize those bleachers to either watch games or to just get out of the sun if they're out there playing.
Is there baseball there?
No, ma'am, it's
Okay.
football. Football, soccer, lacrosse, it's that type of field, not
Well, the
baseball.
reason I ask about baseball is because the shade structure protects flying balls
Right.
from, and so forth. So I was just curious, it would be 2 purposes if it was baseball.
Yep, no, you're right, but no, this is for elements, particularly sun, UV rays.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Clearwater Neighborhood Housing Services, Inc., doing business as Tampa Bay Neighborhood Housing Services for home ownership and education counseling. You will have 5 minutes.
Good morning, my name is Bella DuPont Rivera. That's DuPontRivera. I am a housing counselor with Tampa Bay Neighborhood Housing Services, previously known as Clearwater Neighborhood Housing Services. We offer assistance for first-time homebuyers, credit counseling, foreclosure prevention tools, utility assistance, and we build new homes. For the past 45 years, TBNHS has a history of assisting low to moderate income homebuyers in the city of Clearwater. Over the years, our agency has seen both good and not so good economic times for homebuyers. Unfortunately, for potential homebuyers, the current market is not so good, as it relates to both the homebuyer education and the Down Payment Assistance Administration. To give you some perspectives today, the interest rates were below 3% in January 2022. By the end of 2023, rates had soared to almost 8%. Currently, the lowest interest rate we are seeing is around 6.5, which has skyrocketed the monthly mortgage payments for new home buyers. Our clients often ask us, when is the best time to buy a house? And we always encourage them to consider not just the timing, but the long-term impact of their choices on their financial well-being. Why contribute to a landlord's equity when you can be investing in your own future? So when interest rates are low, our out-of-state buyers and cash offers flood the market, creating challenges for our lower-income clients due to increased competition. On the contrary, elevated interest rates result in an increase in available homes for sale, but also raising affordable issues with our community. To tackle the barriers presented by inconsistent interest rates while maintaining our commitment to affordable homeownership, we need to continue to empower our clients through education. Providing these services at no cost is essential, ensuring everyone has access to the knowledge and tools needed to see housing not as a fear, but as a feasible step toward helping create generational wealth. To achieve this, we seek support not only in continuing to offer down payment assistance, but also in exploring ways to increase the funds available for these programs. TBNHS is committed to equally supporting all community members with a focus on uplifting minority groups. Black, African Americans, Hispanic, Latino Americans include about 30% of Clearwater's minority population and are a significant portion of those we serve daily. During a recent home dedication for one of our newly constructed homes, 2 community members approached me, eager to learn more about our program. This encounter demonstrated how our clients, upon purchasing our homes, become ambassadors to inspire others and to show that home ownership is within reach for everyone. As we reflect on the past year, we are proud of our achievements. We've tripled the numbers of households receiving down payment assistance, and we continue to see increased attendance in our home buyer education classes, now also offered in Spanish to meet the diverse needs. In home constructions, we've sold 3 out of 5 completed homes and are advancing on more ambitious projects. By leading our own construction, we've kept costs down and making homeownership more attainable to others. And to address the question of what is the timeline reached to propose the homebuyer education activity, TBNHS has achieved an initial milestones towards increasing homebuyer education class by hiring new staff. Despite challenges of the national certification requirement for housing counselors, we have recently boarded certified counselors. We're very happy for that. Enhancing our ability to surpass historical attendance goals for these classes. Also very important, our partnership with Habitat for Humanity is also boosting and help impact by offering more education counseling to help future homeowners. Additionally, we are excited to announce that we will start building 24 townhomes together with Habitat, 12 of which will be made available to households below 80% AMI, while the remaining 12 will be available to families earning between 80 to 120 AMI. To attract more participants to our homebuyer education classes, TBNHS is now engaging with more banks and mortgage companies that we haven't previously partnered with, aiming to expand our reach into new areas. In today's economic climate with uncertain interest rates, our role is vital. We stand ready to guide low-income families through the complex process of home buying, providing the necessary support and resources to turn their dreams into a reality. Thank you for your time.
Sanderson. Anybody on the board have any questions?
Excuse me, in addition to the certificate that you provide for the down payment assistance and so forth, does your program include financial fitness and budgeting?
Absolutely, that's all part of counseling.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Community Action Stops Abuse, CASA, Design and Inspections. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Tim Murphy. I'm the Director of Operations for Casa Pinellas and the Director of Development. Here today to talk to you about funding and engineering feasibility study as well as an economic impact. There's been a consistent theme here about talking about housing. This is a housing project. Our CEO is a survivor herself of domestic violence. Domestic violence is a significant problem in Pinellas County. We are number 5 in the state when it comes to reported incidents. Our mission is to remove barriers, and one of the barriers in helping survivors is affordable housing. This project, what we're asking you to help us with is we've already funded the balance of the project, meaning we have secured a piece of property that's been fully paid for. We've secured from HUD the funding that actually will support 12 to 15 tiny homes on this piece of property, and we have other sources. So for this funding, what we're looking to do is help folks in North County. Currently in South County, 30% of the people that come and use our services have a North County address. That's a barrier. If you have to get in a car and drive someplace, the likelihood of trying to get support and help is not going to happen. So this project is to help us in North County and help people that are currently coming down to South County to utilize our services. There were two questions you asked. This funding was based on our grants manager and a full-time associate, so we're confident in the request for the 28.6, and we have not looked to source any other funding for this project.
Ms. Anderson? Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have directions for mental health, doing business as directions for living. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is April Lott. I am the president and CEO at Directions for Living. Directions for Living is a community mental health agency located here in Clearwater. We serve approximately, for the last several years, we've served approximately 30 to 32,000 unique individuals each year. We serve approximately 7,000 of that number is residents of the city of Clearwater. In addition to our community mental health services, we also provide child safety services and housing or homeless services for individuals who are living either housing unstable or homeless. Our request before you today is for approximately $187,000. We leaned into the proposal that really said that what you wanted to focus on is expanding services. So we have seen, as you might imagine, a dramatic increase in the need for mental health services, predominantly following the pandemic, and we are out of room. Quite frankly, if you've been to our agency anytime recently, parking is very, very difficult. We have individuals, clients who are reporting that their stress level is going literally through the roof in anticipation of their appointment because they're afraid they won't be able to find parking or be able to get into the building. So what you can see in the document that we provided to you is that we are trying to do a parking lot renovation. If you look at our parking lot, there are lots of ways that we can create additional parking space. And we've had a surveyor come out and help us redesign what that parking lot would look like. And then in addition to that, we want to basically repurpose 2 pretty large conference rooms into office space. Again, we are out of real estate. We are out of space. And if we are to expand services, which we are being called to do on a daily basis, based on the needs of our community and the residents of Clearwater, we need to create more office space. The office space that we are asking to create is basically the field-based office space. So people who are in the field have a place to come, dock their computers and those kinds of things, do their notes, upload their notes, and then kind of get right back out into the community. The 2 questions that we were asked to answer, we have not sought additional funding from any other funding source for this project of this 2 projects within one, and we are very confident that we could get it done in the time frame that we have. We do have one project right now with the city of Clearwater, which was an elevator project, which some of you may have heard of, has been delayed with getting done. I will tell you that we got all the paperwork this morning, and so we will be closing that elevator project today.
Great. I do have one additional question, April. Because we would be the sole funder of this project, should the cost exceed the grant request or exceed our cap, do you have the financial capacity to handle those cost overruns?
Depending on how much that would be, yes. So if we were way off by hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably not. But if we were off by a couple of $1,000s, certainly under 10, yes, the answer would be yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do you own this current facility right now?
We do.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Thank you
very
so much. And as I leave, just let me say to you, our building is beautiful predominantly because of the support that we've received from the city of Clearwater.
Next, we have Gulf Coast Legal Services. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning, Teresa Pritchard, CEO of Gulf Coast Legal Services. We are here today seeking $50,000 to serve survivors and victims of domestic violence in Clearwater who are seeking legal assistance related to housing needs for fiscal year 24-25. So Gulf Coast Legal Services employs attorneys and paralegals to provide direct trauma-informed legal representation. We are a law firm for folks who can't afford to pay for attorneys. We serve low-income, vulnerable, underserved, and unserved communities throughout the Bay Area. Our mission is we champion justice by enhancing access to the legal system, especially for those whose race, ethnicity, income, age, disability, gender, or sexual orientation pose obstacles. We strive to provide exceptional advocacy, vigorous representation, and effective legal education to the communities we serve. For fiscal year 21-22, GLS supported 300 clients in Pinellas County alone who reported needing legal assistance in housing matters and also as a result of domestic violence. The Florida Health Chart's most recent data reported 2,300 homeless folks living in Pinellas County in 2021. And in 2020, the county reported to the FBI per the Uniform Crime Report that there were 6,000 reported incidents of domestic violence in Pinellas County. As a significant social issue, domestic violence and homelessness, like many other social problems, are interrelated. According to research by the Safe Housing Partnership, domestic and sexual abuse is a crucial factor in why women and children experience homelessness. And in marginalized communities, it's even more difficult for survivors to get help. Our staff provide representation to assist survivors in maintaining their residence through the legal process. And that could be through defending them in evictions, fair housing matters, or foreclosure defense, which is vital to help them also sustain employment, hopefully potentially avoid having to utilize the services of our community partners who are stretching their resources to provide housing to folks who cannot otherwise achieve that. All of our team members are supported in providing trauma-informed representation to clients. We provide outreach at the Hispanic Outreach Center and other community providers like United Way Suncoast here in Clearwater. And survivor referrals are typically routed through the community partners to our on-staff victim advocate, who provides compassionate intake services and individualized and victim-empowered safety planning alongside our attorneys who provide the legal representation. We also receive referrals through CASA, and as the gentleman who spoke a couple speakers ago, we have a family law attorney focused at the Family Justice Center in St. Pete, and they respond to survivors throughout the county. Just want quickly to answer a question that was raised by the review committee. Our work is additionally supported. We receive HUD community project funding as well as VOCA funding for our family law attorneys and IOTA funding through Funding Florida Legal Aid, which comes to all legal services providers through the state.
Any questions?
Does your firm handle real estate issues such as probate, which is a huge...
Yes, we have a financial stability team. That is one of their biggest requests is for assistance with those documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. For everyone who's coming up to speak, please remember to state your name clearly and spell your last name for the clerk. Next, we have the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund of Florida, doing business as Prospera. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Fabian Yepes. Yepes is Y-E-P-E-Z. I'm the Vice President for the West Coast of Florida of Prospera. We are an economic development nonprofit organization that specializes in providing bilingual assistance to Hispanic entrepreneurs who are trying to establish or to expand their businesses. We offer a variety of services specially designed for Hispanic small business owners to empower them through training, consulting, advancement services, and access to capital. Basically, the needs we're addressing, most Hispanics that come to the country, they are immigrants who come here pursuing the American dream. process in which they do not only encounter economical disadvantages, but also language and cultural barriers that limit their knowledge and their ability to enhance their financial skills. In addition, Hispanics are entrepreneurial by nature, and immigrants even more so. And once in the U.S., they quickly learn that starting a business is their best chance to achieve this dream, a process in which they do not adequately account for risk. The failure among Hispanics continues to be high due to poor financial decisions and not knowing how to do business in the U.S. Hispanic entrepreneurs usually face barriers like no knowledge of the U.S. credit system, which is maybe inexistent in other countries, limited or no financial education, resources in their native language. Because they're born and raised outside of the U.S., they don't know the financial, legal, accounting, taxation, or licensing processes of business. And they are used to very different business culture and processes. So this is where we come in. Our mission is to help start, sustain, and grow these businesses and help them achieve community prosperity. Been around for 33 years. And I've been working with the city of Clearwater for, I believe, 7 years now. The way we do it, the services that we deliver are all without cost. They include education through seminars. They include one-on-one consultation with business consultants in both language and in culture. We offer business advancement services, which can be legal assessment, accounting assessment, marketing plans, business plans for access to capital, business plans for operations, QuickBooks training, branding kits. Again, all these services are not done in-house, but they're done through some vetted providers that do it for us. That way we can keep our overhead low. And as well, the last thing that we do offer is access to capital. We do not give the money directly. However, we work through a lot of our partners, and we're able to help these Hispanic businesses understand how to work the financials and how to learn how to work the banking system, build their credit, and eventually be able to access that.
I do have one question. Good morning, Pep. How will your organization target very low to moderate income business owners in Clearwater?
We are partnering with several organizations here locally, Hispanic Businesses Council, Services Council actually, and we do a lot of door-to-door. We do walk to specific businesses, try to meet with community leaders and business leaders that can also guide us and connect us with the people we're looking for.
Just curious, do you have an internal tracking system that helps you keep track of City of Clearwater residents and Pinellas County residents?
Yes, we do. We do. We have all separated. We separate by county, by household income. Yeah, it's all the work here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have the Homeless Emergency Project. Doing business as the Homeless Empowerment Program, you will have 8 minutes to speak.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Zachary White, Executive Vice President of HEP, last name spelled W-H-I-T-E. We have 5 projects that we've submitted this cycle, and I was asked to put them in order of priority, so if I may, go ahead and get started on what we've submitted for. I would prioritize our family shelter. We have a 8-unit family shelter complex right there on campus, HEP's campus, that we're able to house up to 8 families. These units are fairly old, and while they've been renovated through the years, they're in need of significant renovations at this point. And so we've submitted a request in that regard to replace the stairwell. There's 2 units upstairs, increase ADA accessibility for the 6 units downstairs, and improve some additional components of the building in regards to windows, I believe, and new doors, expanded porches, make it more accommodating, make it more comfortable for the families while they're in the program. I'm trying to look at the specifics here, but the scope of work is fairly extensive. But HEP is now the largest county provider in terms of family emergency shelter. We're poised to serve well over 50 families a year, and that's not to expand upon the more recently established support we've received in terms of expanded efforts. So, are there any specific questions I might answer?
Zach, I do have one more question. Can you talk a little bit about your Workforce Development Center project? This is your public services application.
Yes. Our HEP's Workforce Development Center is it's a much-needed resource to the community. It's located right in the heart of the Greenwood community as well. And not only does HEP strive to assist all the individuals and families coming into the Homeless Empowerment Program, it's open to the community as a whole. There are no costs involved with these services. And we, while we're limited in our staff, we have continuously sought out and secured some strategic partnerships to expand the staff involvement of those agencies, expand the curriculum or resources available to those seeking job placement, job readiness, skill set sort of training, financial literacy, advanced certification, advanced education. We have ride share programs in place. We pretty much have done our best to eliminate pretty much every barrier that we can think of potentially in regards to these individuals or families getting back to work or getting to the place that they strive to be. And as we continue to expand those partnerships, we're in need of additional staff, and so we've submitted an application for a support of a position within that program for a workforce development manager. It's increasingly through the years we've seen our data reflects greater outcomes, greater number served, greater demonstration of success in regards to employment and other skills needed to be successful in the community. I hope that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you talk a bit about any other funding that you may have gone after for your public facilities applications?
In regards to any of them?
The priority.
Yes, sir.
Priority project, and then.
So we did a dual application between the city and county for both the family emergency shelter, which I understand they have recommended for funding, and we had submitted a dual application in the city county for our dining hall renovations, which it was announced the county was not recommending that portion of funding requested in regards to that project. Anticipation of how we would make up those funds. I think that if the city were inclined to approve, we would utilize private contributions or look at other ways of ensuring the project's able to be completed. This is one of those, that dining hall has been there for decades, and it could just really use a renovation. We've put a lot of money into that facility and the surrounding shelter through the years in terms of new roofs. We're in the process now of installing all new HVAC for the entire dining hall, new appliances, things like this. But to renovate some of the interior and, better reinforce and secure the facility, make it more modern, clean, sanitary, that sort of thing. While we continuously pass inspections with flying colors, I think that there's a lot to be said in terms of just the overall morale and the feeling when you walk into something that's, nice looking and more presentable. It's just very aged, and, we anticipate problems down the road, prior. We try to be more proactive in terms of, failing utilities or failing doors, windows, this sort of thing. So.
Great, thank you.
I think I may have missed it. How much are you requesting in your application? I don't think I got the total.
For the dining hall project, I want to say was, I'd be a little sharper if my two lovely boys didn't
I could answer
share
that
their
for you.
burdens with me.
The request for the dining hall renovation was $85,000.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Was that all five?
Keep going.
Okay.
I think you talked about 2 or 3,
Let me see. So you got,
if you have time.
another one is the, am I, I've
No,
got-
keep going.
We have, we've expanded and in the process of expanding our staff for the much greater need of the community, of course. And so we're in desperate need of office space. And so one of our proposals is to renovate an old maintenance storage facility into additional office space for 5 staff that would work solely with our veteran population. Historically, about a third of our population annually are veterans, which, can range anywhere from about 500 to 800 veterans a year, depending on our overall numbers served, which I've seen fluctuate anywhere from 1,200 to, 800. COVID, of course, was kind of an outlier, but pre-COVID, we were generally around 1,000 to 1,200 a year, including families. So, having some of the staff or house those staff obviously is vital, and I'm not sure. To the question of other funding sources, I don't believe that we have sought additional. To the extent that I'm not aware, and I could coordinate or confirm with our grant writer, but I don't believe there's additional resources or potential for this type of funding. But it would be a significant benefit to the population we serve in terms of expanded case management, staff management, ensuring a private, confidential area for our veterans to meet routinely, regularly with their case managers and their healthcare navigators, employment specialists, et cetera, so that they're able to hopefully quickly address and expedite the goals and aspirations outlined in their individual treatment plan, so that we can get them moving successfully in a shorter time frame, allowing that opportunity for additional veterans in the community.
You have a pretty good-sized campus there on Greenwood?
We do. It essentially spans an 8-acre area, and that's expanding further. We've recently acquired a parcel of land that's just over 2 acres. We intend to build 32 units for families, 2 and 3 bedroom units. While it's not contiguous to East Campus, it's like, I want to say right across the street. It's that close.
Yeah, okay. That was my question. I knew you had a good campus size there. I was wondering if there's any additional land that you could acquire. So it's good to hear.
We're always looking. We're always looking. I believe that was 5, but if I may double check here. Park Street Apartments is the one I believe is remaining. Yes. Park Street Apartments is a 8-unit apartment complex right there by the St. Vincent de Paul feeding site, if you're familiar. Those are currently utilized as permanent housing units for individuals generally. Again, this is one of the facilities that has received a lot of support from the city in prior years in terms of bathroom renovations, new windows, repair of the existing stairwells, things like this. And it's now in need of a new roof. So that's a $50,000 request. And I think the time frame on that would be a very quick turnaround. Roofs are fairly easy in our experience. Easy for me to say, right? But those are my projects, or all 5. So I thank you. And if there's
The housing facilities, are they temporary housing or permanent housing?
It's a combination, depending on which units we're looking at. We have what we refer to as our internal continuum of housing. We range anywhere from emergency shelter that has a very limited stay. In most cases, I view this as a sort of our crisis stabilization component of our longer-term strategy and getting people more stably housed in the long term. We do have some transitional housing opportunities, which generally involves up to 24 months of tenancy. And beyond that, we have permanent housing for individuals that are either self-pay or subsidized through the VA or various housing authorities. Our permanent housing units are just over a third of our inventory. However, that landscape is changing a bit given the expansion of our family shelter programming. We're taking some of our former off-site transitional homes, and to be clear, HEP or the church own 17 properties, all in about a mile radius of HEP's main campus. And historically, we offered transitional housing for men and women in those homes, but we've since completed a lot of renovations through the years and converted several of those homes into family homes, some of which are permanent housing and some of which are emergency housing.
And you mentioned those are single-family residential properties?
I'm
Are
sorry.
The other properties that you mentioned that the organization owns, do you have any single-family residential properties?
Yes, we do. In fact, there are 16 out of the 17 are homes that range from 2 to 5 bedrooms. And then we have the one Park Street Apartments, which is 8 units. While most of those are 1 bedroom, some of them are 2.
And I'm sure they're 100% occupied, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If
The
not,
need is-
it's of temporary status due to some need of renovation or, something like that. That's it for me, unless there's any questions. I appreciate everyone's time, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Hope Villages of America. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Melinda Perry, Perry. I am the Chief Operating Officer with Hope Villages of America. So if you're not familiar, Hope Villages of America has been around for over 50 years, based in the city of Clearwater. We're a multi-dimensional organization addressing hunger, housing, and abuse. But for this purpose, we're here for 2 applications. The first is for public services, and that is to fund a Hispanic advocate at our outreach center to help provide services to the Hispanic population. 1 in 3 Hispanic women are a victim of domestic violence during their lifetime, which is much higher than their counterparts. So we want to ensure that we have a staff dedicated to that, building relationships within the community. We have partnerships with the Hispanic Outreach Center, the Clearwater Largo Church, which is mostly Spanish-speaking, and some other Spanish-speaking residential neighborhoods that we've built partnerships with that we want to continue to be in those communities so that they'll build trust with us. We know that that's a big deal for especially the Hispanic population to be able to trust individuals to provide them services, and then this individual would then provide those services ranging from case management to crisis management, filing for injunctions for protection, support groups, any and everything that an individual would need, we'd be able to provide that service. We did have a Spanish-speaking mom came to us who spoke very limited English. She was in an abusive relationship, and her husband, she was married, her husband was the sole provider. He spoke very good English, and he told her that if she was to go seek, help somewhere, that he would get her deported, they would take away her children, and so luckily she was able to come to us, and we were able to help her through that situation because we did have a Spanish-speaking advocate on staff at that time. We want to ensure that that's always the case, so that we can continue to ensure that those types of things don't happen. The request is for $50,000 to cover that salary. They are the same services that we'd be providing to other victims of domestic violence, but just this would be dedicated to the Hispanic population. We do anticipate the increase in delivery of services, both general domestic violence services as well as clinical. We also are hiring for a behavioral health advocate unrelated to this application who would then be able to work with them on their treatment plan, and we're partnering with Baycare and that to help us create that treatment plan. So we do anticipate services increasing. Would you like me to move on to facilities? Yes. Okay. So for facilities, we are applying for $190,000 for physical improvements to our food bank. The work includes, in priority order, screens for the warehouse roll-up doors. Unfortunately, we have seen lots of birds coming inside to, want to nest during those times that the roll-up doors are open. So the screens are definitely necessary to ensure that we are pest-free. We have an automatic door that needs to be replaced in our main lobby. It's our main exit door. It's currently broken beyond repair, so we need to replace that. We would like to do LED lighting throughout the warehouse. We currently spend about $30,000 just on electric at that facility every year. So being able to switch to LED would help us reduce our operating costs, which would then help us put those dollars back into serving the community. Parking lot expansion. If you've been to our food bank anytime during the times of distribution, 12:30 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, or till 6:30 in the afternoons, you'll see the parking lot is quite a mess. We don't have a very large parking lot, and we're still doing drive-through distribution due to COVID. So we want to be able to expand some of that parking lot into one of the plant beds that we have, as well as repaving the parking lot, so that will absolutely help with the traffic. And then our last is for carpet tile installation on our second floor of our office space, which is currently just in need of replacement. I'm definitely very comfortable with the estimate provided in the application. We worked with a contractor beforehand to get an estimate for the bids to ensure that we were not out of the ballpark, and they did come in just below that $190,000 mark. Questions?
No additional questions?
I have a question. I hear a lot of Hispanic assistance programs. Can anyone tell me what % of this city's population is Hispanic?
I want to say it's 17%.
17%? Okay.
I'm not positive about that. They may be the county numbers, but.
I was just curious about that.
That's right. I think that's right.
That sounds about right.
Is that right?
I think that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Housing and Education Alliance. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning, board members. Is that too loud? Hi, my name is Sylvia Alvarez. I'm the Executive Director of Housing and Education Alliance. Education is our middle name. And we were founded in 2002 to provide culturally sensitive homebuyer education and housing services to our community. During the housing crisis, we didn't anticipate that was going to happen, but during that time, our agency was faced with closing due to funding cuts, and all the staff refused to close the doors. They all continued to work, some of us for 3.5 years with little to no pay, and because of that, we won the PBS Nonprofit of the Year award. So I'm very proud of our accomplishments then. But the housing crisis actually opened up our eyes to the need that was in the community for homebuyer education that is accessible, engaging, and able to be retained by the students. So during that time, a lot of studies were made that proved that those who took a HUD-certified homebuyer education course were 35% less likely to become a victim of foreclosure. So we went to work, we did a lot of research, we found that the competition of the services provided was great information, but it was the delivery that was a little bit difficult for the students to retain. It's an 8-hour course of someone giving lectures or PowerPoints. So we created Home Track Online, which won an award for the best technology for homebuyer education. And at the present time, well, it was made with edutainment. It's not PowerPoints. It is games, cartoons, funny videos, so that people really retain what they're learning. Since that time, well, we created it using edutainment, and since that time, we have helped over 13,000 new residents become new homeowners. We have provided $148 million in loans with down payment assistance. We've served 53,000 residents. 18,000 were served last year, 1,800, I'm sorry, were served last year alone. And we have received almost 500 five-star reviews on Google. I really welcome you to look that up. Most recently, and we've got a 4.9 rating too. There's always somebody who's not going to be happy. So anyway, so we served last year for education alone, 1,325 people came to our classes. Our classes are all online. We do about every quarter, we have proposed that we will provide a class in person for those that need it. But if you were out in traffic this morning or any day, you know how difficult it is to get around anywhere. So doing a service online is so much better, and it is HUD approved. HUD is all for it. So any questions?
I do have a couple of questions for you, Sylvia. How will you be targeting Clearwater residents for these programs?
Well, we have a very fluid presence on social media, number one, but we also have partnerships with many banks locally, so we're going to be approaching them as well, the local branches, to get them to know about the service and to make sure that they refer clients to us. But social media, you need to check us out on social media. We've got a very live and fluid presence there. So.
And one final question. You indicated in your application, and by the way, if you could respond to the microphone so we can capture it for the record.
Okay.
You indicated in your application that you'd be serving more than 200 Clearwater households. What's the basis for that estimate?
Well, it's just based on, our marketing efforts and the research that we've done and our results that we've done in the past with the marketing. We'll market churches, we'll market community organizations and partners, local partners here in the Clearwater area.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions here?
No. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have the Intercultural Advocacy Institute, doing business as the Hispanic Outreach Center. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, good morning. My name is Amanda Markowitz. It's Markiewicz. Thank you for having us here today. In Pinellas County, the Hispanic population is the fastest growing minority population. In Clearwater, the Hispanic population is estimated to be about 20 to 22% of the total population. The Intercultural Advocacy Institute, doing business as the Hispanic Outreach Center, has been providing services within our community since 2000. 60% of our families have served have a household income of less than $30,000 a year. We recognize that there's a great need for the community to have access to our services. For 17 years, the Youth Leadership Partnership Program has bridged the gap for culturally competent programming for Hispanic students. Through the span of the program, annually we provide services for 25 families, including a space for students to be successful in achieving educational goals while engaging their parents in the process. The curriculum addresses many of the needs that students have to become active and engaged adults within our community, such as communication skills, coping skills, tutoring and test prep, learning leadership and public speaking skills, improving relationships with peers, improving relationships with parents, and more. When asked how the program impacted one of our students, Viviana, one of the most recent graduates, stated, "This program has become our lifesaver, pulling us out of the water before drowning under the stress. It changed our family dynamic, enhanced our knowledge, and most importantly, it created an even stronger bond between my mother and I." This year, we are seeking funding to expand our existing program to include a partnership with Bowley Centers. This will allow us to provide on-the-job training, skill development, leadership opportunities, financial literacy, stability, and build a sense of community. This is on top of the existing program that we've been implementing, so the addition and the expansion of this program would add a total of 15 ongoing monthly activities that we would provide to the families that we're working with. And these all work towards supporting the goals and successes of the students and families that we're working with. The Intercultural Advocacy Institute is asking for $40,000 to allow the Youth Leadership Partnership Program to continue and expand our impact within our community. We appreciate the opportunity today to speak, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Learning Independence for Tomorrow, LIFT University Transition, as well as LIFT Academy Playground Equipment. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Well, good morning. My name is Sean Naugle, SHAWN-NAUGLE, and I am the proud Executive Director for Learning Independence for Tomorrow. LIFT is a one-of-a-kind school that serves students with neurodiversity, students on the autism spectrum, students with ADHD and other co-occurring learning disabilities. We provide educational, career preparation, and social support to children and their families. Our mission is to inspire and empower people with neurodiversity to learn, thrive, and succeed. For those of you who are not familiar, LIFT was founded in 2013 by 2 moms, both of whom had a daughter with a neurodiversity. They started with a handful of volunteer teachers and 17 students in the back of a church in Seminole, and we have now grown to more than 170 students across 3 educational programs, more than 40 team members, and we are incredibly excited about the purchase of our new campus, which was the former Clearwater YMCA. It is a 60,000 square foot campus sitting on 7.2 acres of land and provides a robust array of opportunities for our students. We have 3 educational programs: the LIFT Academy, which serves kindergarten through 12th grade. We offer both standard high school diploma tracks and a certificate of completion tracks for our students. Since opening our doors in 2013, LIFT has boasted a 95% standard high school diploma graduation rate. For the past 3 years, this year included, we will have a 100% standard high school diploma graduation rate. For our LIFT University students, that is for our young adults 18 to 22 that focuses on job readiness skills, community internship programs, and social emotional skills. We also have an adult training program for adults 23 and above. So right now, our youngest student is 5 years old, and our oldest student is 55 years old. As I mentioned, we are now serving 170 students, and we have plans to double in size over the next 3 to 4 years. For those of you who are not familiar with us, we have seen families relocate from out of state, from around the state to the Clearwater area specifically to enroll their student at LIFT. That includes states like Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, just to name a few. We use the term neurodiversity as this is Autism Awareness Month, the month of April, to capture a larger array of what neurodiversity means to this community. In fact, 1 in every 36 children are now being diagnosed with autism. 1 in every 44 adults has a diagnosis of autism. But yet, we are seeing that services are still underrepresented. There is not as many opportunities for these students. In the city of Clearwater, if 20% of the population is experiencing some type of neurodiversity, that means more than 23,000 people in this community alone have some type of neurodiversity. So we are seeking to provide an opportunity for them to have a safe community, a safe haven to learn, thrive, and succeed. In front of you, we have proposed 2 projects of high priority. First being our LIFT Academy playground. We're asking for $110,000. For those of you who know, kids learn through play. They have to stay active, especially students with neurodiversity. They need the opportunity to engage in fun activities and sensory-friendly playgrounds to enhance their motor skills, their sensory integration, their social skills, and their communication. We are very happy to report that we have already received $50,000 from the Legacy Grant Builders Program to match the funding of our $110,000 request. In addition, we have donors who are willing to match whatever we are given from this opportunity to build out a really great playground for our students who deserve it. Our second ask is for our LIFT University Transition Program, and that is to expand our community internship programs, to hire additional staff, which will allow us to increase the number of our community partners in this area. We already have more than 30 community partners who work with us on a daily basis to provide internship and work skill opportunities for our young adults. They have opened the doors for these students who have often been told that they do not have the skills or they do not fit the mold. And we are proving that wrong each and every day, and so thankful for each of our partners. So these funds, again, we have already been awarded $39,942 from the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay. That will cover equipment, materials, and supplies and offset the expenses of transportation. So with a gift of $30,000 from the City of Clearwater, we'll be able to hire those additional staff and create those opportunities for those students. Thank you.
Sean, I do have one question for you. Regarding the University Transition Program, you've indicated several other applications for funding with decision timeframes ranging from April 1 through August 31. What will happen to the program if some of these funding sources don't come through for you all?
Thank you for the question. So we'll be able to continue our current community internship program. However, it will be limited to certain areas of town. We won't be able to expand into the broad array that we identify through the adult skills assessment, which limits our options as far as how far we can go and how often we can go. However, we still run our internships during the academic calendar year. And so with this opportunity, we would be able to kind of divide and conquer for more of our students to have a more personalized experience.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is your organization tuition-based?
Yes, ma'am. More than 95% of our students access state-funded scholarship dollars, and then whatever that remaining balance of the tuition is, we break that into monthly payment plans for our families.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Metropolitan Ministries. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, good morning. My name is Lauren Smith. Smith. I am the Associate Director of Community Collaboration with Metropolitan Ministries. And I also oversee the Neighbor Hope Project in Pinellas County. The Neighbor Hope Project started in Tampa in 2020 and expanded into Pinellas County in October of 2022. In Pinellas County, the Neighbor Hope Project targets 3 high-need zip codes. 2 of those are in South St. Pete, and 1 is the 33755 North Greenwood zip code. So during our first year in Pinellas County, we did see a great need in the Greenwood area, but with lack of manpower, we weren't able to provide as many services as was needed in the area. So we did request $50,000 to be utilized towards case management services, and then 5 of that to be used towards prevention assistance, which could potentially serve 10 to 15 families or individuals with utility or rental assistance. Our case management goal is to serve 36 households or individuals with the goal of maintaining stable housing, 80% to maintain stable housing at exit, and 80% to have an improved well-being at exit as well. In February of this year, we partnered with the Homeless Empowerment Program, and we now have an office at their Adult Education and Workforce Development Center and can offer navigation and case management services from that location, as well as another partner location, which is United Way Suncoast Resource Center, which is also in 33755. And to address some of the questions, how would this expansion affect the number of people being served? I think it would greatly affect the number of people being served. Looking at the last 6 months from the previous fiscal year, only 8% of the clients and families that we served came out of the North Greenwood zip code. But over these past 6 months, where we've moved more into Greenwood, 24% of our families and individuals are from the 33755 zip code. We also plan on hiring a navigator to start this month to assist case management and to assist all those needs that are in North Greenwood. And also to address another question, will we be targeting outside of the population? Resource navigation and referral services are not limited to that 33755, so that's for all of Pinellas County, but those 36 families to receive case management are to be in 33755.
No additional questions?
Any questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Personal Enrichment Through Mental Health Service, Inc., doing business as PEMHS. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Helena von Otto, VONOTTO. I'm PEM's Marketing and Development Director. Well, first of all, let me begin by thanking you for the previous grant, 2023-2024 CDBG, which is making a significant impact on our campus. We are very excited for the opportunity, and soon we'll have some pictures to show you. For those of you who don't know PEMS is a crisis unit. We are a Baker Act central receiving facility for Pinellas County. You might imagine that being a central receiving facility for people in distress who are a danger to themselves or others, it's very important to have proper signage and wayfinding on our campus so that when those people who are already in distress arrive, know where to go. However, and this is the subject of the grant, it's our wayfinding and signage grant, $101,000. The situation is quite the opposite. I'm going to show you some examples. I think pictures really speak louder than words. This is one of our signs. Yeah, this one is about 35 years old. I think that tells you everything. I have another one here for you.
Oh, gosh.
Right? I don't really have to speak to that, right? Now, Let me give you some more examples. Over here, you see our engagement center. Our engagement center is a place where we all meet. The community comes over. We have courses for people who are in distress. NAMI has a group for those who have lost someone due to suicide. They all meet in the engagement center. The engagement center has no sign whatsoever. So it's very hard to find it, in other words. Another example, a printed sign. Something I've just printed on paper and put on the door so people will know where to go. Our campus wayfinding sign is currently missing, and it really wasn't even a wayfinding sign. I want to show you another one. Due to the last storm and impact of the wind, it blew away. Thank God no cars were damaged or squirrels that were in the area, but we don't have a sign. Next picture down here shows you the outdated wayfinding. Although we call it a wayfinding sign, it truly isn't, because as you can tell, it really doesn't tell you where to go. It points you to building J or building H, but it does not tell you where those buildings are. And I'm going to tell you a story of what tends to happen. So building J is our intake building. About a month ago, a mother drove in a pretty raggedy van with her 13-year-old son. She stopped at the first building, that's the administration building. That's the first building down on the road. She was very distressed because she had to correct her child, a 13-year-old. She stopped at that building, came in, thought that she's in the right place, and when we told her that, no, excuse me, you do have to go to the building J, which is at the back of the property, she broke down. She just sat down on the floor and cried, and her child, the 13-year-old that needed to be corrected, had to watch that. So us first stabilizing the mother and then taking the child into building J. So this is our way of showing you how important this is to create a more functional campus for our community. Thank you for your patience with us, and we hope to receive the funding. Do you have any questions for me?
Helen, I do. So how comfortable are you with the estimate that you've provided for the contract?
We are very comfortable with the estimate. The estimate covers all of the signage. However, if even 80% of the signage is covered, that would give us the ability to have a much more functional campus. Are there any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have the Pinellas Opportunity Council. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Alonda Vaughn, Vaughan, and I'm with Pinellas POC, which we call Pinellas Opportunity Council. And Pinellas Opportunity Council is a nonprofit organization. We have some brochures that, can we give them to you? Okay. You could, a nonprofit organization that offers an array of programs. But the one program we're talking about today, which has been in existence since 1968, is our emergency assistance program. And that program has been one of our major programs to help people in the community with their electric bills, their utilities, and their rent and mortgage. And Carol will talk more about the program. I'm the Director of Administration. I talk about money, and she talks about programs.
Good morning. My name is Carol Bolden, B-O-L-D, and I am the Community Program Supervisor here at Pinellas Opportunity Council. As Alonda said, we're kind of tag teaming. She does the money, I do the services. So with this being said, we provide an array of services. We've been in Pinellas County for over 55 years now, going on 56. We provide services from family self-sufficiency, our youth development program, and the particular program we're here requesting funding for today is our emergency assistance. Our last fiscal year, we provided assistance to 1,325 residents of Pinellas County. We would like to expand that to answer some of the questions that you all presented to us. This would be funding that we're requesting is $25,000, is to expand that program, not to replace any existing funding. Of that 1,325, 351 were residents of Clearwater. With that being said, each year we try to, depending on funding availability, increase our services by 5 to 10%. With that being said, that is where we came up with the number of assisting an additional 35 Clearwater residents. We have an internal process in which we set maximum amounts of services that are available per assistance, and at this time it is $700. However, we do have a flexibility within $25 to $50 over that, so between $725 and $750. With that being said, that's where we came up with the amount, and the question that was asked as far as to assist an additional 35 Clearwater residents, we would be able to approximately serve them with $714 per assistance. This enables us to be able to provide a service for our clients where they are able to maintain their stable housing. As we know, with the market rental prices and things of that nature, it is definitely a need at this time. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time and having us present for you today. And do you have any questions?
I do, thank you. So there seemed to be a little bit of confusion amongst the technical review committee. Is this a request for a fee for service, or is this salary support or direct financial assistance to clients?
Yes,
I'm sorry, could you speak to the microphone? Sorry.
It's salary support to help support a position and to provide those services.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, I have a really quick question. Just because I know there was a lot of emergency assistance in the I was going to call them in the COVID years, but I really mean the first few years of COVID, because technically we're still in the COVID years. Have you seen a decline at all in that demand since, people have gone back to kind of the new normal, or is it the opposite, where you see it continues to grow?
Absolutely not. It continues to grow. Unfortunately, the way it has grown, though, it has just shifted.
Okay.
At one point, it was because of COVID and being out of work. Now it has shifted because of the increase of rental and prices and being able to just sustain. Utilities have gone up. Yeah. Water, lights, all of that has gone up. So yes, it has not decreased. It's definitely increased. It's just the reason has changed.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify, it's not people seeking better places to live. It's just they're staying in the same place. They may have the same job. Correct. The cost of living is just increasing much faster than their wages are. Okay.
Correct. And we assist low to moderate income residents of Pinellas County, and in this case, it would be the residents of Clearwater.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Again, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the Society of St. Vincent de Paul South Pinellas, Inc., doing business as St. Vincent de Paul Cares. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
All right, good morning. My name is Judith Warren, and I am Chief Program Officer for St. Vincent de Paul Cares, last name W-A-R-R-E-N. And I'd also like to introduce Sam Ivory, who is our Operations Manager in our Clearwater office, and last name is spelled I-B-O-R-Y. So today, St. Vincent de Paul Cares is requesting $50,000 for rapid rehousing to serve 12 families from the city of Clearwater. A little bit about St. Vincent de Paul Cares. We're a 501c3. We were incorporated in 1985 in Pinellas County. And last year alone, we served 6,000 clients experiencing homelessness and hunger through a variety of programs, to include rapid rehousing, our homeless shelter, and permanent supportive housing. So rapid rehousing, it's designed to help persons experiencing homeless swiftly move into permanent housing. And we also provide support to stabilize individuals and families in their homes. And our current average day to be housed is around 67. The core components are housing identification, move-in and rental assistance, and case management and stabilization services.
And we do adhere to the Housing First model. So if you're not familiar with that, which I'm pretty sure you guys are, low barriers to admission. We target the most vulnerable. We believe in supporting client choice. And we also want to integrate our families and individuals into our community through social and community integration. Services are provided without any preconditions, and that might mean sobriety, treatment adherence, income, or service participation. So our referrals are going to come from our Pinellas Coordinated Entry System that's administered by the Homeless Leadership Alliance. We actually will screen for eligibility. The $50,000 is directed to half of a case manager, 0.5, to serve those 12 clients, 0.10% of a housing specialist. And we've got other small percentages of a cost for supervisor, grant accountant, and some other small operating costs. So data does support that 70% of rapid rehousing participants are able to remain in and stabilize in permanent housing. Our local data is actually a lot better. We're seeing over 80%. Our referrals can be accepted within weeks of us signing the contract. Our first client can be housed within 60 days, and our full program can be running within 180 days. St. Vincent de Paul Cares has been doing this work, rapid rehousing, since 2012. We're in 19 counties, and since the pandemic, we've housed over 5,000 households. And we really built our program on strong relationships with landlords and property owners. Okay, just in the nick of time. So I believe you had a couple of questions.
It was related to single adult families. What is the percentage of your clients that are single adults?
Yeah, so we are prepared to serve about 80%, so 10 of the 12.
Okay, great, thank you. And then the other one was related to the entry system. How do you pull the Clearwater residents from that entry system?
Yes, so that's through our direct work with the Coordinated Entry System for the Homeless Leadership Alliance, prioritizing those families or individuals that resided last in the city of Clearwater.
You mentioned you work with a lot of landlords that probably, are the rents controlled?
They're not controlled, no. We have, again, worked locally to really engage landlords in our mission and really utilizing the fair market rate. And Trish, I don't know if you want to.
And the other part of, it's okay. The other part of that is just building those relationships with those landlords and making sure and having them understand that we are here for the long haul with the clients. And whenever the services are ending, being able to provide them with either some type of Section 8 or those type of things, and making sure that we're assisting the clients with increasing their income so that they can maintain rent afterwards just as well. And we've also talked to landlords and possibly lowering rent so that those clients can maintain without the assistance of a program.
And are those properties inspected?
Yes. Everybody that we place into housing, our housing specialists are HQS certified through the Section 8 with the same type of inspection that Section 8 would conduct.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Next, we have Tampa Bay Community Development Corp. doing business as Suncoast Housing Connections. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Ellen Stoffer, S-T-O-F-F-E-R. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Suncoast Housing Connections. We are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency based here in Clearwater. We've been doing business for 42 years. In those 42 years, we've watched a lot of things change, ebb and flow, the market changes. The market changes in housing directly impacts our work. Right now, we are facing an issue where we have a lot of clients who want to buy homes, can't find a house to buy because the inventory is low. The costs are unattainable for our average 70 to 90% AMI family. According to, and I brought you some latest statistics, end of March, According to Rocket, the average cost of a home in Clearwater was $353,506. According to Redfin, $374. So we're looking at mid-350s. When we all think about homes, does that seem affordable to a low to moderate income family? No. So we have people who are coming to our programs, which includes education and counseling. They want to buy a house. They've heard about the American dream. They want to live the American dream, but it seems not attainable. So we've adjusted so that our counseling becomes really critical. Let me explain our formula. You take a class, gives you the 30,000-foot level of what is the home buying process. Who makes up your team? What credit are you looking for? What types of loans are there? All that stuff. The counseling is where the nuts and bolts get done, where we're looking at you specifically, looking at your situation. We're helping you to look at what is your housing affordability. What we don't want to do is have somebody get into a home that they can't afford, so that in a few years they're coming back to us for foreclosure prevention counseling. We want to avoid that. We also look at projected income. We are spending significantly more time with our counseling clients than we ever had. It used to be very transactional. They'd come in, we'd maybe meet with them 1, 2, 3 times. Now we have people that are staying with us for a year and a half because they can't find that home. We've become emotional support, as well as helping them to create that action plan and say, let's stick with it. Let's stick with it. The market, according to PRO, the Pinellas Realtor Organization, has become neutral. So it's no longer a seller's market like it was last year, but there's still some challenges. So we're saying, let's keep working on this. Let's keep working on these goals, because if things change, like we hear they're going to, we want to position you to be in the best place to be ready to buy that home when the interest rates come down, when the sales prices come down, and when you've maybe changed your situation. You've decreased that debt. You've increased your savings. You've increased your income. So we look at housing affordability, we'll look at projected income, and we want to stay with these people in the long haul so that we can be present at that house closing and give them their plan to say, congratulations, you're now living the American dream. Our greatest ability to impact our clients is in that counseling session, because it really is, lights go on. We sit in the classes and we watch light bulbs pop. But when you're looking at their information, we're looking at their bank statements, we're looking at their tax returns, we're looking at all the things they've brought, all of a sudden it starts to click. And we can hopefully get that buy-in from them in counseling to stick with it. Don't drop out. Don't go buy a house that you can't afford. Don't ask mom and dad to lend you money so you can buy this house that ultimately you can't afford. Not the best idea. So really the counseling has become critical. Last year, or fiscal year 23, we provided homebuyer education to 55 Clearwater residents. We provided homebuyer counseling to 12 Clearwater residents, and we had 6 home purchases in the city of Clearwater. We are on track this year to do about the same. We'd love to see those numbers higher, but we also know the market is not allowing us to do that. And then again, the whole thing with the down payment assistance, we're able to bundle it. We want to be able to help people to know that the down payment assistance program exists here in Clearwater. We mention it briefly in the class. We mention all the various down payment programs, whether they be the local ones, the state ones, the individual funding programs that are out there. But in counseling, we can say, oh, you live in the city of Clearwater. You want to buy a house in the city of Clearwater. Here's what the eligibility criteria is for city of Clearwater. Presently, the city of Clearwater does not require it does not require down payment assistance applicants to take counseling. They only require the class. We love to have a conversation where we can make that change, because that, again, the counseling is where the information really is imparted and we can make those connections.
Ellen, I do have one question. Yes. How many housing counselors do you currently have on staff?
We have 1 full-time and 2 part-time.
Thank you.
Ellen, what about those people who don't currently live in Clearwater but want to move to Clearwater because it's closer to where they work?
Right. The challenge that we face, Robin, with that is we have a lot of people that want to come to us. We have contracts with City of Clearwater, City of Largo, and Pasco County. If we started to provide housing counseling to everybody who we don't have a contract with, it's not a business decision that we can sustain. So what we do is we say, unfortunately, you don't live in our jurisdiction, and we provide them with a connection to an agency, whether it be Hillsborough County, whether it be even unincorporated Clearwater. We say, go meet with one of our other partner agencies who does have a contract, because we want you to get the service. We just are not in the position to offer that service, for lack of a better word, free of charge. Because we're a nonprofit doesn't mean we shouldn't make money. So we want to make sure that we're getting compensated for the work. And like I said, counseling now has become such a longer term investment. We need to make sure that there's a contract.
What are the credentials and experience that your housing counselors have?
Our counselors are probably, I think the shortest term housing counselor has, I want to say 10. So they run between 10 and 16 years of experience doing housing counseling. Housing counselors are a challenge right now. Passing the test is a challenge. So getting that experienced counselor is a challenge. We're very fortunate that the ones we have do bring a wealth of background and experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Kimberly Home. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Maria McCaffrey. That's MCCAFFREY. I am the Executive Director of the Kimberly Home. I also have with me here today my Housing Director, who is Monique Whitaker. We are seeking funding for 2 different grants, the first of which is for our facilities improvement. The Kimberly Home has been here in Clearwater for 41 years. In addition to our Pregnancy Resource Center, we do also have a child care center at which we offer child care for free or very little to all of our clients. It is also open to the public as well for private pay clients. The facilities improvement that we are seeking funding for is a new roof for our child care facility. We have been able to sustain some minor improvements to the roof, but at this time we do need to fully redo it, and so that is part of what we are seeking that grant funding for. We have received an estimate that we do feel comfortable with that would be facilitated by this grant, being able to cover that for this office as well as covering the portion of that roof. We are currently at full capacity in our daycare, fully staffed and full capacity with the children. So in order to maintain a safe space and a building where we feel confident and comfortable for them to come to each day, we are looking to make that necessary improvement to that building. In addition, our housing funding that we are seeking funding for is salary support for our house mom, who is our resident advisor. She works closely with our housing director, and then she does live here on our campus. And I will let Monique just speak a little more on that.
Yes, the position for the house mom is basically for her to be there as a guidance. We've had ladies in traumatic experiences just seeking help in the middle of the night, crying, saying, I'm about to shake the baby. These are scenarios that we've experienced. And having the house mom on site gives her the ability to go over to the home right then and there. And that is a very good help for the mom that's there on site and needs that assistance at 2 o'clock in the morning or whenever it may be. We've also had ladies having babies in the middle of the night, and they call us first versus calling 911. So having that house mom there on site also helps. To speak a little bit on the expansion, we found that offering more activities within the community has been a good hit for us. So we are going to expand and offering and collaborating with more partnerships within the community to provide more services, not just to the housing ladies, but also to the other Pregnancy Resource Center clients.
So in addition to that grant providing the salary support that we need, it would also assist us in funding these other classes that we are hoping to expand and offer a little further to our clients. As well as providing salary support, the additional grant funding would also assist in covering the rent and utilities and the other items that we do provide as a part of the salary for that resident advisor.
I do have a question for you, Maria. So I think what I just heard is salary support plus some portion of the housing expenses associated with the on-site house mom, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then the application describes the expansion of services, and it sounded as though some of these services are delivered off-site. Is that correct?
Yes, some of those, you can speak on that. Some of those services would be delivered off-site, yes.
Okay, and who would be delivering those services?
Whatever community partnerships that we have, we do have a couple with Regions Bank who would be providing services for the finances and the financial classes. We also have a partnership with, there's a doctor that just moved here to Clearwater, and she has services that she provides, Mommy and Me Yoga. And so we'll be collaborating with them as well to have different services to provide to the families.
Okay, thank you. And then finally, what happens if you're unable to fill this position in a timely manner? Is this a new position? Is this, okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll answer that one. So what happens is me as the housing director have to do both positions, which is the stress of working 24/7.
Yeah.
So that's what happens if we don't have the salary support for the house mom.
Okay, thank you.
Questions here?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have We Care Inc., doing business as Upwards. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name is Judy Almada, and I'm the Program Director for We Care's doing business as Upwards Boost program. We're very excited at the prospect of our partnership with the City of Clearwater to deepen our impact in this wonderful community, to bolster the childcare ecosystem by supporting childcare providers to optimize their daycare business operations by increasing their revenue as well as their capacity to serve more children. With approximately 3,091 children under the 6 years old, and about 4,000 households, childcare is a much needed service, but paradoxically an under-resourced sector. The cost of care for young children exceeds what many families can afford to pay, and childcare workers are left bearing the brunt of the disparity and frequently covering the cost of the difference with their own salary. In Clearwater, the average earning of a childcare worker is around $12.92, which is about $26,871 a year, qualifying them as low to moderate income persons. We are requesting $131,354 to support with salary and fringe benefits for our Scalable Boost program. Upwards pledges $42,681 in additional funding to curate an effective program for 22 microenterprise daycares within the city limits to potentially create 7 new low to moderate income jobs. This program will be made available to all licensed microenterprise daycares in Clearwater, and applicants will be prioritized based on their level of risk and need. Our Boost program aims to help Clearwater daycare providers save time with business automation tools and reach their full child enrollment potential so they can earn more money and reach a state of financial equilibrium. It does so by teaching daycare owners how to use a robust child care management system that automates enrollments and wait lists, tracks attendance, facilitates tuition payments, matches them with interested families in real time, and much more. Boost is short for Business Operations and Optimization Support Tools. This is an economic development program that provides one-to-one personal business coaching and technical assistance to in-home daycare owners with a goal of reaching a healthy business model year after year and lifting them out of low-income brackets and putting them on the track to financial freedom. In Clearwater, a daycare provider charges an average of $170 a week for full-time care. At a full capacity, at a large capacity serving up to 12 children, they could generate potentially over $100,000 a year. Boost teaches providers how to market themselves on our platform Upwards, which is currently the largest child care network in the United States, so their child enrollment can reach its full capacity and stay there. Ultimately, we are on a mission to solve care for good and sincerely appreciate your steadfast commitment to bolstering the child care ecosystem in Clearwater. Together, we're not only empowering microenterprise daycare owners in stabilizing and even expanding their operations, but in increasing the total child care capacity in Clearwater. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Members of the board, it's just important to note that this is not a public service subject to the cap. This is a microenterprise activity, and so it sits in a separate category. So if you were wondering why 131 is an allowed application limit, that is within those limits.
Thank you for that clarification, because that was my question.
Any other questions?
I do have a quick question. You did make a mention of how many childcare providers you were attempting to help with that grant.
Mm-hmm.
Have those already been identified? Do you think it's going to be
Yes.
difficult to find 22? Do you think there's way
No,
more
we
than
have
22?
already identified
Okay.
those,
Okay, so that's
microenterprise,
fantastic.
yeah.
So they're already existing, and it's a
Yes.
number that you know you can help
Yes.
if that grant comes through. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have West Care Gulf Coast, Florida, Inc. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good morning. My name's Rhonda Lieberman, Lieberman. This is David Hassett, Hassett. We're West Care Gulf Coast, Florida. We have, we help persons with substance abuse disorder and mental health, co-occurring mental health. We have a Turning Point, which is our homeless shelter and inebriate receiving center. We have Mustard Seed Inn, which is our transitional housing. We have Davis Bradley, which is our residential program. We have outpatient services within Pinellas County and Pasco County. We requested $50,000 for support of a case manager and an LPN at our Turning Point facility, and David will talk about the program and those services.
Hi, I'm David. I'm one of the counselors at Turning Point. I work directly in the case management department. We specialize in trying to help any of the clients that we serve get from homeless level straight into either transitional, a program, or a rental. We also help with resume building, documentation readiness. We try to really fill in the gaps. We really work with the local communities, the local shelters such as Safe Harbor, St. Vincent de Paul, and other transitional housing. When we are hit with Clearwater clients in particular, we try to rehouse them back into the city. And we also, with the LPN position, we have seen an increased need for clarification if they're able to come into our shelter and not need medical detox to help limit issues or seizures or anything like that. And that is what the LPN position would be using to help screen the clients if needed, to alleviate the stress from the behavior health techs in order to help increase our numbers and to keep the recidivism rate off the hospitals when increasing our numbers. We also provide wraparound services such as with the transitional housing, depending on where they're wanting to go. We also help with guiding either they need income verification. We do rapid rehousing assessments with the HLA. We are completely paperless when it comes to the case management department, so it limits any errors on our end and allows the person served to get the full access for case management. Any questions?
Thank you. Next, we have the Willa Carson Health and Wellness Center. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Last but certainly not least.
Good morning. I'm Kimberly Nunn Crawford. Last name is NunnCrawford. So the Willa Carson Health and Wellness Center is we are of course, nonprofit. We're a free clinic that sits in the heart of Greenwood. And we're actually located right on MLK, which of course was formerly named Greenwood Avenue. So we offer medical services, we offer mental health services, culturally competent services and care. So we are asking for $112,000 for facility rehabilitation. We had quite a few projects listed, so I'd like to just kind of maybe touch on the top 3 that we feel are more safety issues. So the first one is the bathrooms. They currently are not ADA compliant. One thing that we'd like to do is get the toilets lowered and the sinks lowered. We do have concerns about just more risk management concerns. We want to make it safe for anyone who needs to use it. I think the second priority had to do with the flooring. Just because the building is very dated, it's older, there has not been any rehab since the building was built. There was some concern mentioned when we had one of the engineers come in as far as asbestos. And of course, that's something, the way he was explaining is that you don't bother it, you don't shift it, you just, you build over it. So we're asking that even along with the bathroom rehab, so of course the floors will be replaced in there, we're asking that it just be continued throughout the building itself. Some of that also really just has to do with dignity. Most of the individuals who come in are working poor. They do work, they just cannot afford their health insurance. So we want them to feel welcome. We don't want it to have a free clinic feel when they come in. And the last one has to do with the HVAC system. From our understanding, it's too, it doesn't provide the necessary, I guess, energy push for the size of the building. We have concerns about, we're a health facility. We need good air being pushed through. We need it to be cool. We need to decrease the chance of certain germs going around. So those would be our top 3 as far as priority. And we do feel confident as far as the estimates that we've received. I think there was a question that Denise sent. And I think the second one had to do with funding. Do you want me to go ahead and mention that? So so when we ask about funding through the county, we have received, or we were approved for a roof and our last grant to the county. So it was not included in this, but we do feel as though we have reached out for other resources, and we're just attempting to kind of shift some here and shift some there.
Piece it together, yeah. Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any, excuse me, are there any final questions or comments from the board? So at this time, we still have a long meeting, so I'm going to call a 10-minute recess. We will be back here, according to that clock, at 11:12, which is will actually be 11:14 on the real clock. going to call the meeting back to order. Can't speak. We are now on item 4.2, discuss the performance of subrecipients of the City of Clearwater's community development programs. Community Development Coordinator Danya Perez will present this item.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So I'm going to be using a PowerPoint for the presentation.
Is that allowed?
It is for me.
We make the rules.
Okay, well, I thought I was going to be using a PowerPoint.
It's showing
up.
up. There it is. Progress report.
Okay, there we go. All right, so we're gonna, just keep in mind that when we created this PowerPoint, it was based up to February, and I've already been receiving draw requests and things just keep moving regularly, so just keep that in mind. So we're gonna start off with our public services with CDBG. So this is for WestCare, and WestCare, they were funded $22,833. So far, as of February, they have spent $8,636.99, and they're about, as of right now, well, as of February, they're about 38% completed. They estimated to serve 100 persons, and as of February, they have 36 persons. Their difficulties that they encountered, they did not report any difficulties completing this activity. However, if the expenditure, if their trend continues, then they will be around 45% by April 1st. So that's a good thing. Then we have Metro Ministries, and Metro was funded $15,983. They spent about, as of February, 0%. There is 0% as of right now, as of February. They expected to see 30 people, and unfortunately right now they saw 0 persons. So I've spoke to them about their difficulties, and because usually that's what I do, I stay in communication with them, figure out what's going on. We work together to see what we have to do to fix, we offer advice, we kind of have, it's like an open dialogue, and we all try to figure things out together as a team. They expected to use the grant funds for a new position and expand their program, but they're having a difficult time filling this position. They will start using the grant funds for current staff and assisting Clearwater persons. Pens, they were awarded $10,275. And as of February, they spent $1,960. They expected to see 200 persons, and as of February, they saw 17 persons. And their difficulties, they expected to use the grant funds towards utilities and rental assistance. They also received it for salary support, but they were kind of holding off on the salary support part and just really wanted to focus on the client assistance portion of it. And also, they found out that we cannot use CDBG funding for utilities. We could use it for electric, so that kind of took that away a little bit. And but now that they are close to the 6-month mark, they're going to start using it towards salary support. So that should work there. Then we have Hispanic Outreach Center, $22,833. As of February, they spent $4,861, so about 17%. They expected to see 60 people, and they saw 57 persons. And right now, they did not report any difficulties.
Look at that. Wow. I know.
Exactly.
That's great numbers. Yeah, those are great numbers.
So then we have the Kimberly Home. The Kimberly Home was awarded $15,983, and as of February, they spent $7,784. They're about 49%. And they expect to see 30 persons, anticipated 30 persons, and now they saw about 17 persons as of February. Their difficulties was expanding the clientele. As a client, they do not follow, they don't always go to their appointments. It was difficult, that they don't always complete all the documentation that needs to be completed. Client enters the program and quickly exits it when they realize all the rules and regulations that need to be followed. I guess it happens, not everybody likes rules. So then we have Hope Villages of America. So they were awarded $10,275. As of February, they spent $2,188, about 21%, and they expected to see 25 persons, and as of February, they saw 20 persons. Their difficulties is finding affordable housing for survivors who have no income due to leaving their spouses, leaving their abusers, combined with other economical stressors, such as employment, inflation, and cost of food has also made it challenging for them. Gulf Coast Legal, they received $22,833. They spent it as February $3,080. They're at 13%. They expected to see 25 persons. Right now, they've saw 2 persons. They did send me a draw request, just so you guys know. I have one. And their difficulties was finding clients within the city that qualify under CDBG guidelines. As you know, CDBG guidelines requires 80% and below. So, HEP, they were awarded $15,983. They did not spend any funds yet. So that's 0%, and they expected to see 150 persons. They had a difficulty time filling the position. So as of March 6th, the position was filled, and I do believe I have a draw request waiting for me to work on. So that's good news. So Prospera. Prospera was funded $50,000, and they have expended $10,475. They're about 21% expended. Their goal was 12 businesses, and they exceeded their goal, which is great, 18 businesses. Their difficulties is finding businesses that meet the CDBG guidelines. Because right now everyone they're getting usually exceeds a little bit over the 80%, and that's been their challenge. However, they still continue to attend Hispanic events and visit local businesses for marketing their program.
Yeah, economic development activities are a challenge at CDBG. We try our best to accommodate them and make them work. And Prospera is a great organization, and they're working very hard at it, but it's a tough match.
I mean, it's good to see that they've spent a small amount and they've seen more people than they thought they would, because it means they don't limit themselves in that way. I think they're still helping the businesses, which is really good.
Yeah, they do good work. And then we have We Care. We Care is a new program that this year is our first year. And the amount awarded was $130,000. This is also an economic development. So I put 0. They do have a draw request with us that's going to be about $50,000, give or take, an estimate. We're just in the middle of all that. And their goal was 22 businesses. As of right now, there were 3 businesses. They had a few more, but unfortunately, those businesses, I had to take them off because they did not qualify. So they informed me that about 60% of Boost providers have shared their household size and income data during the program registration, but some of them are having trust issues of what is this program? What are we working on? Why do we have to fill this out? So I spoke with them. I'm gonna speak with Chuck about about maybe seeing if we can do like a little letter or something so they can send to the providers to let them know it's not a scam, that it's legit.
That's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. And then we have Tampa Bay Community Development Corporation. So the amount awarded was $25,000. They expended, as of February, $1,475. They're about 6%. Their goal was 75 households, and so far they've served 12 households. So they informed me that there's a significant drop in potential buyers within Pinellas County. The majority of their clients are from Pasco, and those from Pinellas seek to purchase in Pasco County due to the increase in interest rates and high purchase prices. They provided services to about 20 Clearwater residents that were over 120 AMI, and this is for SHIP funding. Also, SHIP funds, we granted $25,000 for this Clearwater Neighborhood Housing Services, and they spent about $9,200. They're about 30%. They're at 30% as of February. Their goal was 170 households, and they currently assisted 44 households. So when I spoke with them, they told me that the low to moderate income clients is decreasing due to housing affordability. As of January 2022, 30-year mortgage rates were below 3%, and today they're hovering about 6% average, probably higher because I've seen it higher, which is discouraging potential homeowners in purchasing within the county. Referrals have also decreased because many banks are laying off their mortgage loan officers. So that's what so let's see. Unfortunately, I saw you pointing at yourself.
I wasn't laid off, thank God.
So then we have public facilities and improvements. So I included this just so everybody has an understanding of project phases. It is an intense, when we do this, it's not just like, okay, hurry up and do this and you're good. There's a lot of steps and all of rules and regulations that we need to follow. And this is just so everybody has an understanding. So we do agreements and environmental reviews, begin the city's administration, so pre-construction work. Then we have to do Davis-Bacon interviews and permitting process, which is also pre-construction work. Then the construction process starts, and then that's when they start submitting the partial payment withdrawal request and then doing all the reporting. And finally, then we can complete the project, and that's when we do all the final paperwork and close out the case. So for Clearwater NHS Housing Services, they were funded $180,000. At the time that I did this, they spent $177,649. Their goal was to serve 125 persons. They ended up serving 99 persons. They recently completed the project, and their agreement was executed on November 2nd, 2022. The contractor was Arrow Homes, and basically the difficulties was decrease in staff, contractors, registration, and SAMs was, I would say, a living nightmare would be fair, and delaying materials and monthly reports.
Just by way of commentary, our own organization, SAMS.gov, was in question because a staff member that left our organization was the primary contact, and it took our CEO, Frank, probably 3 months just to change the primary contact with SAMS.gov. It is a gift from the federal government that just keeps on giving.
Thank you. So then we have directions for living. So they were funded $89,107. They used about $27,617. They've served about 5,910 persons. Their goal was not 5,910. They served 5,927, so they exceeded. It's good. They're still in progress. They signed the contract the agreement on January 13th, 23. And Otis Elevator, you heard her, she talked about that earlier today. There was some difficulties with working with the contractor. I'll just leave it as that. A lot of difficulties working with the contractor, but now it's been resolved and we can move forward. Society of St. Vincent de Paul. So they were funded $122,700. They completed the project. Their anticipated was 1,835 persons, and they served 1,781. Still a good number. They completed it. The contract was executed on January 31st, 2023. It was with Handyworks Property Services. And basically their difficulties was to start towards the beginning with materials and it being shipped. City of Clearwater. So they were funded $127,190, and $190. So they spent about $105,70, and the project has been completed. The agreement was executed on August 18th, and the difficulties was with the supporting documentations required for CDBG guidelines. And then we have HEP, Homeless Emergency Project. So they were awarded $65,493, and they expended $65,493. This project has also been completed. They were hoping to service 900 persons, and they served 107. And it's not because of what it looks, it's because the project was completed faster.
Oh.
So that happens, right? So when you complete a project faster, you're not gonna have enough time to service all the people throughout those months. So then the numbers seem kind of scary, but in all fairness, it's still a good number.
We'll continue to receive accomplishments
Yeah.
until the end of the fiscal.
Is that what we
So we should add to that number.
Well, yeah, technically a roof replacement is still helping people, whether
is.
it's finished or, you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's
with-
still
with-
counting right now.
With public facilities, we can't report an accomplishment, we can't, until the project is done.
Right.
Right, so the project's done, if it's done mid-year, they can still report accomplishments until the end of the year.
Fantastic.
So that
Okay.
number should go up.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Chuck. So we have HEPS again. So we have, this was for the roof replacement at the adult emergency shelter, kitchen and dining hall. So they were awarded $65,493. They spent $65,493. It's also completed. And the same 900 persons, they ended up seeing 287, but what Chuck said, we can go ahead and continue. They can go ahead and continue reporting those numbers. City of Clearwater Parks and Recs, they were doing the Ross Norton Playground, and they received $185,000. They spent it all. The project's been completed. That is an error from my part. I apologize. 520. They put 0. I think because it was an AMI.
It's a low-mod area.
Low-mod area, so I just didn't have that number. I should put that in there.
So low-mod area benefit, you're helping all the people in that tract, and that's, so that number will be about what they expected.
Yes, that will
if not
change.
exactly.
So then they didn't have any, the other difficulties was just the supporting documents for the jar requests. Our club, that was for the air quality upgrades in Breeden. So they were funded $155,310, and they spent about $30,675. Their goal was 55%. So far, it's been 124, which is great. It's in progress. The agreement was executed January 26th, and the project is on hold until the summer when the children are, out of school, just because they don't want to do the work while the kids are in the area. So. But that should be able to get done. Once we have it, that's pretty easy. We'll be able to get it done quickly. Right, Jeff? So then we have our club, the playground safety improvements, Gateway. So they were awarded $81,151. As if they did not have any funding expended right now. They wanted to see the estimated was 44 persons. They saw 43. It's still in progress. And their agreement was executed on September 20th. So there's some little kinks with the contractor, and they're just working that out. But once that's done, we should be able to move that fairly quickly as well. So, then we have directions for mental health, DFL. So they were funded $190,000. They're also, it's in motion, everything's in progress. So they wanted to serve about 10,826 persons. Right now, they're about 2,574 persons. Project's in progress. The agreement was executed November 16th, and they're working with 2 separate contractors. So that's even more Davis-Bacons. I'm sorry, Davis-Bacons and Sam's.gov. So as of right now, there's no difficulties. We're just moving along.
So they presented today, they mentioned an elevator project. If you remember, that's a prior year project, and this is the current year project.
Willa Carson Health and Wellness Center, they did ADA accessibility. So they received $14,000. They haven't spent it any yet. Their agreement was executed on November 16th. Their goal is to see 520 persons, and right now everything's in motion. So there's nothing to report at this moment, but things are being worked on. Pens as well, same. Well, no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. So Pens is funded $190,000. They spent $15,000 as of February. They wanted to have served 57, they're at 25 persons. It's in progress, contract was executed November 16th. And so I believe they're switching contractors because the first one that they chose didn't have the proper credentials that they needed. So that's also in motion. So we have the ARC Tampa Bay for the renovations of the adult day training program, phase 1. So they received 190, they've spent 0. They wanted their goals to serve 57 persons. As of right now, 0 persons. Again, this is in progress, it's still being worked. Contract was executed on November 16th. And basically, their difficulties is to approve the permit. Oh, the fire marshal is requiring. So apparently the fire marshal wants to have them do the safety plan for the whole building versus just the portion of the project. So I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but it should be, once it's up and running, it should be done on time, completed on time. So then we have Hope Villages of America, the HVA food bank renovations. So they were awarded 157, expend 0. They want to serve 1,365. It's currently under review. That means I'm working on it, and it's in progress. I'm working on the draw. So their difficulties were, and the contractor's also under review. Not enough bidders attended the bid meeting, and the bid selection doesn't appear to have the required licensing. So it happens, right? So those are some like hiccups that we bump into that we need to iron out. We're working on it. So then we have St. Vincent de Paul for Council for Upper Pinellas, the community kitchen. They were funded $147,500, expend was 0. They want their goals to see 1,835 persons. And as of right now, they have 1,038 persons. The project's in progress. Their agreement was executed on January 25th. Handiworks is working. There's no difficulties at this moment. So this is my last one. So then we have Clearwater Neighborhood Housing. This is the HVAC system at their Head Start building. Childcare?
Yes.
So they were funded $69,934. They haven't, right now, nothing's been spent at this moment. 80 persons is their expectations. Project status, okay, so this is, remember I said that earlier. So I believe you got yours at Davis.
We
Yes.
are officially registered.
So now that they are officially registered, the program can continue. So, and that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. Any questions?
So this is in response to the board asking us to give you periodic updates. So we're going to try to do them quarterly. We didn't have a meeting last month, so we kind of got off track. The next quarter will end of June. The documentation is due the 10th of the following month, so we won't be able to present in July. So we'll do the next presentation in August through the third quarter. Okay.
It's good to see this presentation because
Yes.
I feel like with everything we see, especially with the presentations we had today, we kind of forget who were our agencies last year and how are they doing and doing all that. It's also helpful to see, what they requested last year and if they requested again this year, whether, they have a good track record, whether they're going through some kinks but they're learning from it. Those things are, I think, really helpful, at least to me.
Well, I'm glad it's helpful. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4.3, recommend City Council approval of the local housing assistance plan for fiscal year 24-25 through fiscal year 26-27. Economic Development and Housing Department Assistant Director Chuck Lane will present this.
Thank you. This is kind of a rare opportunity. We have pretty much our entire housing team here. So I'd like to embarrass them.
Don't call the housing department right now, but later you can.
I just want to introduce you to each of them, so please give a wave. Irene Gomez, Senior Housing Coordinator.
Hi.
Been with us for about 5 years, a little over. Jessica Chuka, We stole her from the gas company. She's been with us just a couple of weeks.
Very nice.
You know Danya?
Yeah.
Perez, housing coordinator. We all know Denise Sanderson, our department director. No
Yes, we do.
necessary. Audra Aha is our marketing manager. She really was working exclusively on the ED side of our department. Now she's doing things on the housing side, and we've seen some dramatic improvements to our website, and it's a lot of it, most of it is because of her.
Yay.
Karen Randy, 5 years, 5+ years, the same day as Irene. She started off as our senior admin assistant, and she was quickly promoted to housing specialist, now housing coordinator.
Fantastic.
And Terry Malcolm Smith, she been around for decades.
There's no way.
She started when she was 8.
You just passed your 20-year mark, right?
Huh?
20, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Senior housing coordinator. And in the back, Gabe Para, community development coordinator. Gabe's been around about the same amount of time as Terry. He's worked in different departments. Not with us today is Dylan Mayu. He's our new our senior real estate services coordinator. He does work on both the housing and ED sides. Have I missed anybody?
No, just wish to correct some titles.
Oh.
Yeah, so, well, it's not time. So recently, Denise Anderson, City went through a compensation classification study, and we utilized that process to align our titles with the work that's being conducted within the division. We found that the title of housing coordinator made it difficult to recruit for the work that's being done in our community development, CDBG, and home programs. So the titles now for Irene, Jess, and for Danya are now aligned as community development specialists and coordinators. So that speaks to the work that they're doing. All of the work that you heard about today with public services, facilities, and microenterprise really is that body of work that those ladies deal with every day. So we changed their titles officially as of January 1. So, and then the housing titles that Chuck provided for Terry and for Kara are speaks to the work that they do. They do the down payment assistance and housing rehabs and things like that. Okay.
All right, last item of the day, I'm going to use PowerPoint to present our new local housing assistance plan. So our local housing assistance plan is a 3-year plan of our use and expenditure of State Housing Initiative Partnership Program funding, SHIP funding. It's from the state. We have to do this. Redo this plan every 3 years. You know, we frequently make adjustments throughout those 3 years to the plans to respond to the market and how things are progressing. But we have to have an established plan at the start. So the easiest way to present this is just to go through the strategies that are laid out in the plan. There are 8 strategies in our local housing assistance plan. LHAP is what we call it. 6 of the strategies from the current year have been modified, and I'll explain the changes. And there are 2 new strategies. All right, so purchase assistance with rehabilitation. We're working with developers here and ultimately a down payment assistance loan to the home buyer. So our current terms, we go up to $300,000 per unit with a developer to build a home, 0% interest, 2-year term. House is typically sold well before that 2-year term is ended, and we get paid at that point. And that has not changed. We're not proposing any changes to that. We pay a developer up to a 12% developer fee. They pay us back what we've loaned them, less the 12%, which is typically how we do it. We do have one organization that prefers to get draws along the way that includes that developer fee, and we do that as well. We're proposing to go up to a 15% developer fee with our single-family builds. Okay, and then the home buyer the down payment assistance or purchase assistance component, and you'll see this throughout the presentation. We won't need to go over it a bunch of times, but right now up to 50% AMI and higher than a 35% debt ratio. We defer for 5 years, and the home buyer is required to pay 50% of the loan over the next 20 years. If they reach the end of that 20 years, the balance is forgiven. Okay, very difficult to sell to a homeowner at this level because a 50% AMI person has a lot of difficulty getting into that first mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. So we're changing that a bit. We're going to go to 100% deferral with that 50% AMI, and we hope that helps. And it's a 25-year term, and then it's forgiven. Now, if the home is sold during the loan period, we get all of it back. You know, the program isn't intended for people to flip homes and make money. It's intended to get people into an affordable home. But if they get to the end of the period, it's forgiven. Above 50%, now currently above 50% to 120% AMI, we kind of have the same rules. It's deferred for 5 years. That 5-year deferral period is important because the first lender doesn't count it against their ratios, and they're able to, you know, they're able to get that first mortgage without being impacted. And then they repay 50% of the loan over 20 years, and the balance is forgiven. That, we're not proposing to change that at all.
Chuck, one of the things that we failed to highlight in this, and it's a very significant change, is our current limit is at $45,000. We've had a lot of conversations about that in recent months. We're increasing that to $75,000, which is in alignment, I believe, with the county.
Yeah, I skipped over that part, apologies. $45,000, but recently we've also added a $15,000 ARPA grant to that if it's needed. So really the max was about, what was it, 60?
60, okay.
I think
That's
if we
where I
didn't
was
have that
confused.
grant funding, we might have increased that maximum between last year when this, but you know, sometime within the last couple of years. $75,000 will equal the county's DPA program.
Will that $15,000 ARPA grant then go away?
Yeah, we're about out of money. We're
About out of money,
97%
yeah.
encumbered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought we were out of money a few months ago, almost out of money a few months ago.
The 75's available for AMI up to 120.
All income bracket, the $75,000 is for all of the income brackets. That's the
There's
max.
no, okay, because the county's a little different. It is
Yes, it is. They're
lower
different.
for.
They're different in that respect.
Lindsay, just keep in mind that we can only use SHIP, and we can only use a really small percentage of SHIP to serve the AMI.
Above
so
80.
that-
Yeah.
80 to 120, so.
But everybody can get that up to 75 if they need it. Yeah, okay.
Chuck, can you just go back to your first slide? I just have a question about that developer fee. So what I'm assuming that upping that to 15 comes from feedback that you've received from folks that were maybe interested in some of the programs but weren't able to participate because it just wasn't making sense financially for them? Is that where it
For the
came
developer, yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, you get, in affordable housing, you get two types of developers. You get the nonprofits that are small and you know, it's tough for them. And then you get the major tax credit developers,
Right.
and it's just a huge business. This is the single family builder. Typically, it's your smaller community developer. So really, it's a way to try to help them along
Okay.
and help them do what they're doing.
Okay.
I think, and David can probably attest, I think we're seeing other communities throughout the state at higher than 12% developer fee with these types of programs. So you'll see later with the multifamily development, which is typically your stronger developer, we're going to leave that at 12%.
And so just to clarify, this is for any organization that is going to purchase an existing home that they have to rehab in order to sell as an affordable home?
Or new construction.
Or new construction, okay,
Yeah.
because this just is with rehab, so
Yeah.
this is why I was like trying to figure
No,
out.
this is
Okay, this is
new
everything,
construction.
okay.
This purchase assistance only, and it's the same terms as I just discussed.
Okay.
Owner-occupied rehab, one of the staples of our program. It helps people to age in place. It helps improve our housing stock. What we do now is we loan up to $60,000, 0% interest. We're proposing to continue that, but we're going to add a $15,000 grant if there's a need for special needs features under the ADA Act. You know, wheelchair ramps, grab bars,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So up to 80, right now up to 50% AMI, it's 100% deferred for a 30-year term, then it's forgiven. What we're proposing is up to 80% AMI, 100% deferred for a 20-year term, then forgiven. And above 50% AMI right now to 120 AMI, and the debt ratio below 35%, it's deferred for 120 days to allow for the construction period, and then repaid 50% over the remaining 20 years, and then the balance is forgiven. So what we're proposing is above 80% AMI and up to 120% AMI. You have that 120-day deferral period, and then 50% amortization over the remaining loan term, and then the balance is forgiven. We're just taking out that debt ratio to make things kind of simple for people. New construction with purchase assistance. So we're working with developers here. The home buyer purchase assistance piece is the same as what we've discussed before, but with the developer, right now we're up to $300,000 in new construction per unit, 0% interest deferred for up to 2 years, and we're doing the same thing. New construction, 0% interest deferred for up to 2 years. So, program Mr. Harder knows very well.
Too well.
And multifamily housing, we do 0% interest loans with all of our programs, including this program. Right now, it's a 30-year minimum. We do a financial analysis to determine that our subsidy is right-sized, to determine whether or not we need to defer payment or not. It's very typical. And moving forward, it'll be very similar. We're looking at, a flexibility of 20 to 30 years. A financial analysis should help us determine that. We'll use a third-party consultant to help us determine really what the right-sized subsidy is and the right-sized payment structure of that loan. So, up to $150,000 for acquisition per unit, or $300,000 for new construction is what we do now, and we're going to go up to $200,000 per unit for acquisition or new construction. Terry, are we leaving new construction at 300 in this strategy?
Sorry?
Are we leaving new construction at 300? Okay.
Then apologize, that was my error then.
Yeah, we'll double check on that. Up to $60,000 per unit for rehabilitation is what we do now. We're going to increase that to $100,000 per unit with the new plan. And the developer fee will stay the same at 12% for multifamily housing. This is the last existing strategy. It's disaster assistance. We don't fund it unless a disaster is declared, and then we typically get additional funds from the state. Currently, we grant up to $10,000. We do a $10,000 grant per unit, a maximum grant of $10,000 per unit. We're going to increase that to $20,000 per unit. And then the new strategies, we'll see how they go. This is something we used to have in our program many years ago, not since I've been here. But demolition and new construction, demolition, relocation, and construction. It's a lot of money to spend on one home. And that's really kind of why we hemmed and hawed on it over the years. But what we're proposing is up to 80% AMI. We can fund a loan of up to $200,000 for demolition, relocation, and/or construction. So that's not going to cover the whole nut. So really what we're intending to do here is to help someone, not fund the whole thing. And that's kind of what we want to stay away from. Because if we funded the whole thing, that number would probably be more like $400,000 in today's market. If the homeowner is unable to attain a first mortgage, we may use ship or home as a match, and we'll have to evaluate that. Up to 50% AMI, the loan is 100% deferred for the 20-year term, and then it's forgiven. Above 50% AMI, up to 80% AMI, deferred for 5 years, and then they repay the loan 50% over the remaining 20 years, I believe is what that's supposed to say.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one we talked about
Is it
earlier.
over? Sorry.
For
The 15, the
20.
yeah,
Total of 20?
it's 20 years.
25-year term.
We're going to have to check on that. The way it's written, I believe, right now, it's a loan term is 20 years, it's deferred for 5. I think we need to address that and change that because it's just not consistent with our other programs. So we'll take a good look at that. And then up to $25,000 direct pay grant for temporary relocation and reasonable storage. And the last program that is new is rental assistance. And it's really just the dire need for it is why we're adding it to the strategy, because SHIP has a requirement for home ownership that we need to follow. It's a set aside that we need to meet every year. So this can kind of throw a challenge into that, but it's just very much needed. We won't do this in-house. We've done it once, and I don't think we're ever going to do that again. But we do have nonprofit partners, some of that you saw today, that are willing to take that on. So obviously it's a much needed program.
Yes.
So, and that concludes my presentation for the LHAP. I'll take any questions.
Do you know what the budget's going to be?
We're probably going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think if we're lucky, $1 million in SHIP. probably another $200,000 in program income, right? That makes sense?
I would say more in program income, because we were told that we're gonna get less than last year because of the sales. They'll see that it's all been.
Yeah, what Terry's referring to is the SHIP program is funded by dock stamps, right? And dock stamps are paid when transactions close, right?
Yes.
Don't be shy, Terry, come on up.
Well,
You're among
right
friends.
now, because of the market, and mostly because of the interest rates,
Yeah.
there's fewer transactions.
Right.
So there's fewer funds going into the SHIP program. So last year, our allocation was about 1.3.
1.3.
So this year, we expect it to be probably less than $1 million.
And that came from the state. You know, they advised us that it's gonna be less because they've seen a drop in the
Transaction.
purchase, sales purchase.
And when they give us our allocation, the state, it's an estimate. With the federal money, we know exactly what we're gonna get. SHIP, it's an estimate, and depending on the number of sales and how much money is generated through dock stamps is what we actually get, so it changes throughout the year.
And what about maximum purchase price?
We did take that up to the state's recommendation for 481,176.
Yeah, that was a tough one to do.
It is.
But it really, we would have to provide a justification if it was gonna be anything lower, and there's really no way to justify any single amount. So unless, you create real confusing math for how you arrive at a max for each income level, which we didn't wanna do, we really kinda had to do it, but, the property has to appraise out, right? People have to have certain income level. Those things, in and of themselves, will restrict what those buyers can pay. So we're not gonna see people, buying homes at 480, it's just not gonna happen.
Right.
No, our problem is actually the exact opposite, in the sense of the borrowing power of the buyer. Even with the increased down payment assistance, the trap is always, our contract means we sell at appraised value or maximum amount. And what we've seen over the last 12 to 24 months is that the city's maximum price is actually just a little bit below the appraised value. So our buyers are getting a little bit of a benefit, a little bit of an equity cushion when they buy. It's actually going to just flip exactly opposite now, moving forward. And we'll have to see where it falls out with our buyers from that perspective. So, rather than selling at $349.5 with an appraisal at $375, we're going to be selling at $375. So what's the impact to the buyer for those additional funds? Hopefully that extra money for down payment assistance will help reach that, but that's the practical outcome that I see with that and what's going on. So managing the family's income is still going to be challenging either way.
Yeah. So one of the things I failed to mention with the single-family homes is, again, those builders are generally your community nonprofits, smaller organizations. Our program has a benefit where if they have to reduce the price and they end up losing money or not making much money on the build, we can forgive more of the loan to ensure that they get a 12% return on their investment, right? A 12% profit, if you will. We look at reasonable acquisition costs, hard costs, soft costs, and it's really just a safety net for organizations like that David works for. So it's just really surety that they're not going to lose any money on a build.
Right. Does the purchase assistance program provide for payment of closing costs?
Yes.
Is it that a maximum amount, or is it included within the total?
It's included.
It's included.
Just
with the
included with the total?
Not
Okay.
to exceed that 75, so it takes into consideration all that.
And do you have an estimate of about how many units that million or so may produce in DD?
I'm glad you said that because I was going to talk with Chuck after we leave here to make sure that in all the strategies, the purchase assistance strategies, the purchase assistant without rehab, with rehab, new construction, that we have a statement to say that the SHIP funding will match the home program. Reason being that in the event that we don't have SHIP funding, no issues. We use the home program and match that, which uses as a SHIP as a match. Also, home requires a land use restriction agreement. SHIP doesn't. We want it to be fair to everyone. So with the home program, that land use restriction agreement will be with all the purchase assistance.
That's a good idea. Any consideration given for purchase assistance with ADU properties? I know you mentioned single family, but there's two single family definitions, one of which includes ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units. So would you consider funding DPA with a 2-unit property for rental?
That's kind of tricky, Linda, because you have a rental component to that. And that would require extensive monitoring. So I don't know if Denise and Chuck, if they're.
So someone income qualifies for that kind of acquisition. Well, their income is going to go up because they're purchasing an income producing property. So it gets tricky.
It gets tricky.
And then when you get to your
It
monitoring,
tricky.
monitoring these one-offs. I mean, it's more efficient to monitor, a 20-unit project than all these 1-unit projects throughout the city. I would really like to put together a program to incentivize the construction of ADUs, on existing, with existing homes. We'll see how the ADUs, we're broadening the allowance of ADUs, right? That's going to happen if it hasn't already.
Yeah, I was just going to add, the Planning and Development Department is intending to bring an ordinance forward. Final read will be in June. We fully anticipate that we'll have to come in with technical revisions to the LHAP following the adoption of the ordinance related to ADUs. Can't bring it into the LHAP at this time because that ordinance is not on the books. So we anticipate we'll be examining that closely and be working with P&D as they work through the ordinance language.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you.
And I saw actually that Planning and Development's having some sort of workshop or meeting about ADUs, unless it already happened.
They had a Zoom meeting last Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday. They have an in-person meeting on Thursday, I believe. It starts at 5:30 or 6. I'd have to check. Out at the East Library on Drew Street.
Yes, that's what I saw, yeah.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. I want to thank you all for being a terrific board and your commitment and your reliability.
Chuck, we need an action item on that one?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'll step away.
It doesn't help me.
Does it?
No.
Wow.
Did I not write it in the script?
I don't believe so, no. Do we need a?
This is for recommend.
We need a motion. Right, so we need a motion to recommend the approval.
I will make a motion to recommend City Council approval of the LHAP.
I'll second that.
Here you go. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
He tricked you.
He did. You thought I could ad-lib. Item 5, old business. I'll ask the board members at this time if there are any topics previously discussed that the board would like the staff to present an update on at a future meeting.
I was actually going to bring up ADUs, but since we already had that conversation and we already talked about the workshop, we already covered it.
Okay. Director's report. Mr. Wayne, do you have anything additional to report?
Well, just real quick, I'm looking at my phone because we're supposed to close today on the project on Cleveland Street, the Archway project, the tax credit project for 81 units. Hasn't closed yet, but it should close this afternoon, so that's very exciting. And I'm hoping at our next meeting I can bring some really good news on our workforce housing project that's been delayed time after time. So more to come on that, but I won't take any more of your time.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Board members to be heard, do any board members have any final words before we adjourn?
I'd like to comment on the presentations that were made today. As they came forward, I kept envisioning, I would love to see this project. Does anybody go out with these applications and look at these look at the facilities and, get an idea of, I'm putting in a parking lot, and so you can visualize the parking lot and so forth.
You know, a lot of the partners, we know their facilities pretty well. When new folks come in, we do try to meet them and view their facilities. We don't do it every time, but we do try to make a habit of doing that with new partners.
Because a lot of them I visualize because I know them. I know where they are and what they look like and everything, but some I didn't know. Where are they? Where are they located? You know, how many buildings, how many acres, how many this, that, and whatever. So I was just curious.
I'm not sure if I turn this mic into that. I'll just add that Gabe Parra, that's a part of his work. He goes out there as part of the Davis-Bacon interview process and the inspection process. So even though we have a contract inspector that does milestone kind of photos and things like that and submits those reports, Gabe accompanies on many of those. So we see the work in progress, the pre-work, the pre-bid meetings. He attends all of those. He conducts the Davis-Bacon interviews and then follows that project all the way through to completion to verify, in fact, that it has been completed. So we get a lot of eyeball on the project during the entire course of it.
But from my perspective, if I had a list, I would go out myself, sitting on this board, and I would look at every one of those projects to see where they're located, what they look like. They talk about a parking lot, wayfinding. I could visualize what they're speaking about. So maybe next year we can, if I could get a list, I would go out and look on my own, just to see it out of curiosity.
Yeah,
I'm
next
a
year,
visual
I hope to
learner.
change our schedule a little bit and do the application cycle a little bit earlier. And then we would have a little bit more time between when that ends and the rest of the process continues. You know, and the reason we want to do that is to align with the county's funding cycle, their application cycle, because we have, as you saw today, we have a lot of projects that seek funding from the county and from us for the same project. So it would make sense to align our application cycle.
Gotcha.
This concludes our business for the day. Our next NAHAB meeting is scheduled for May 14th, 2024. Thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned. Hey, Chuck, you had more.